Hello, everyone. I usually record with my camera on my phone. I got a webcam that was like $50, so we'll see how the quality goes. I have a time limit on my phone. I can only record for 6 hours because my battery will die. I don't have a time limit on the webcam, so I'm obviously going to record the videos on the phone still because I have a very good phone camera. That's what I record all my videos on because I don't have a DSLR nice fancy camera to record and stream and everything else with. But if it looks good, I'm gonna keep it. Anyway, if it doesn't look good, I'm gonna switch back to my phone.
Real.
So, today I don't actually have a presentation ready. Oh, I guess I should talk about who you guys are. Hello.
Hello.
Andrew's muted.
Hello. Sorry.
So you guys are from Sons of Thunder Apologia.
True.
Here
Yes.
talk about Islam.
Yes. Wow. I may just turn this light off. Yes. We love talking about Islam.
So we're going to talk about Islam. We're going to be going over all the dilemmas, the dilemminators, and figure out, okay, is Islam true or not? That's the question of today's live stream, is how true is Islam? So I don't actually have a presentation prepared. I just have it like on script on my screen. So I can show that, although it's formatted horrendously, or I can just say it out. Which would you prefer?
I'm cool with just talking.
All right, just talking.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
I can do that. All right. So, you want to hop into it? You have any thoughts, questions before you jump in?
I'm good with just jumping in wherever you want to
Yeah,
start.
I don't think I've heard half these dilemmas yet, so I'm ready.
Okay. Do we want to start with the tried and true Islamic dilemma?
We can start there.
Okay. So I'm reading from the Dawah script document,
Okay.
which I have not made public yet,
Yeah.
but will become public soon. So for those who are curious about what I'm reading from, where I'm reading it from, it's going to be live in the coming months. And then everyone will be able to read it and everyone will be able to share it. And it will hopefully destroy Dawah. So, the Islamic Dilemma syllogism, from how I currently have it, is the Quran affirms the Torah and Gospel as genuine revelations from God and commands Jews and Christians in Muhammad's time to follow them. We get this in Surah 543, 547, 568, among hundreds of other places. Quran constantly affirms the previous scriptures and the previous messengers. We also have that the Torah and Gospel available in Muhammad's time are essentially the same texts as we have today, which is proven through manuscript tradition and history. And then the Torah and Gospel contradicted the Quran on central core doctrines such as crucifixion, deity of Christ, the Trinity, who God is, God's love is mercy, and who the prophets are, what they did. Therefore, if the Torah and Gospel were preserved, the Quran is false because it contradicts them. If the Torah and Gospel were corrupted before Muhammad, then the Quran is false because it affirmed and commanded obedience to corrupted texts. Because it is false, Islam is false because the Quran is false. We can go deeper into any of those, but
We love to hear it.
it's the general layout of the Islamic dilemma. I'm sure everyone is sick of hearing and debating to this point in this year. This year was the year of the Islamic dilemma. So
It really was the year of the Islamic dilemma. I do like that there's a slow rolling out of more issues, but yes, I mean it's tried and true for a reason.
yeah.
I think we all whoa. I think we all saw a very awesome shall we say decline in Dawah once the Islamic dilemma got really popular.
Yeah.
I was talking to my buddy Devion and he was like, yeah, I had been debating Muslims for a while, but then the Islamic dilemma got popularized and like it just kind of stopped.
That's something I'm a little like worried about is are they going to stop calling into the Christian streams? I think we may have to go on the offensive and go to their streams.
We already do.
I mean, yeah,
some do more. Yeah.
No, I think I do think it's really hard, especially like Surah 1094, I think is like almost the crux of the whole debate. And I understand, even if it's hypothetical, the problem is that Allah makes the claim. If you ever doubt,
Mm-hmm.
don't
Go
doubt.
to them.
But if you do, go to the people who read the scriptures before you. And that is a problem. If you're saying those, because obviously that can't, I think I've heard someone try to argue that's still the Quran. And I'm like, well, it literally can't be. It has to be something different than the Quran if they were reading the prior scriptures. If they were reading the scriptures before you, it cannot be the Quran.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't understand how you can see the problems in the Quran's manuscript tradition, see the problems in what it says about the Bible, and still be a Muslim. I don't understand how that can happen logically, but I guess they just don't think through it too hard. But there's a lot of people who are encountering the dilemma for the first time and just leaving Islam, which is great. We love to see it.
I mean, just like Christians, they don't really know their Bible or their Quran. So.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's something I've tried to express to some people, because like obviously we don't, we've said this multiple times that we do not hate Muslims, right? We don't, and what I've expressed to some people who have in my life who have said more like hurtful things about Muslims is I'm like, for the most part, there are a lot of there are as many nominal Muslims as there are nominal Christians who, like Chase said, don't really know what the Quran actually says.
I think there are a lot more nominal Muslims.
And that might be true, but there's it kind of reminds me the same of like what I typically hear in Mormonism, which is like the feeling of like, well, it feels right, it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel good when I recite the Quran in the native Arabic. It, the feeling I get is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to how the Bible is the only religious text that holds Jesus to, a form of, to be God. Right. I also find it interesting that I don't see very often other religious texts tell you that your heart is deceptively wicked above all things. The Bible seems to be the only one that says that you shouldn't trust your heart.
Yeah, the heart's deceptively wicked, and they're all like, oh, well, the burning in the bosom, it's the truth, obviously.
Yeah.
It feels good, therefore it is true. It's kind of like the same thing with the New Age theory and thought, is just, if it feels good, it's true. That's what I'm going to stick to. It's softcore debauchery and what's the name of that field? The philosophical system. Wow, I cannot speak today. The system where you're just trying to seek pleasure for your ultimate good.
Hedonism.
It's softcore hedonism. Yeah.
That's like Reformed Judaism, man.
Well, it's all at the core of it. There's nothing. Feelings and emotions aren't wrong in and of themselves, but the problem is you can't justify whether something is true solely based off the way it makes you feel.
Right.
Like that. Just because something gives you dopamine or applies pleasure doesn't mean it's a good thing. You can get all that from hardcore drugs and they can kill you. That doesn't, something feeling good doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way. It's like, well, it's like, if it's all about the way something feels, sounds, or, like it, I'm not trying to call like the Quran like mysticism, but it almost feels when I hear people who don't know how to read Arabic, but they say they like reciting the phonetical Arabic and that it just feels good when they say it. It's like, that is like a form of mysticism, because that is just, it's like talking incantations. You're just, the way it comes out of your mouth, it's like, oh, well, I just like the way it sounds. It makes me feel good. It's like, again, that may all be true. That doesn't make what you're saying true.
The Quran has plenty of incantations.
Making your table float when you do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Hmm?
Oh. I must have
no.
not gotten there yet.
Oh, you have no idea.
I'm
What's
only
like-
on chapter 19.
You don't
Oh, you sweet
understand.
summer child.
Saying like, this is definitely it's whether or not you consider it an incantation, but whenever you say like the Bismillah before you have sex, to me it's like, but that in and of itself, it's like, oh, but you guys, say grace before you eat food. Yeah, but we're not afraid that if we don't, that a demon is going to wrap itself around my cheeseburger and enter into my body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Speak for yourself.
the demon is already in the cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Is there a dilemma on the list? Because I don't have the list in front of me, but is there a dilemma of how many times the Quran makes a claim? I don't know if this falls into the Islamic dilemma, but how many times the Quran says one thing about a character and then says something entirely different about a character?
Yeah. That's the contradictory dilemma.
Okay, great. I'll save my thoughts till then. I've got one that I've been really sitting on that I've been waiting for the right time to talk about.
Okay. Yeah. So let's jump into the dilemma. So there's 28 total ones I have so far. The Islamic dilemma is the one that everyone has spoken about, and the Talmudic dilemma I'm currently going through, but we have other 26 that I have not done anywhere on stream yet and we haven't talked about. So let's go through some of them. Raise up my mic.
Also, I want to say real quick about the Islamic dilemma too, for anyone that what's great also about the Islamic dilemma is typically the number one response you're going to hear is, oh, well, it's a general confirmation. Don't forget, general means the
vast
consensus.
majority.
That means it's agreeing with it generally is like you're taking the whole. So if you were to say it's a specific confirmation, that's different. But general confirmation means it's a mass confirmation.
Trying to get my mic to stand up. It's not working at all.
Don't let them trick you.
Don't let them deceive you.
Jabril got your mic.
Jabril does have my mic. I'm so ill prepared for today. I'm just giving up. Giving up. Okay.
Jabril Holders.
Yeah. Okay. The Gospel Dilemma. Let's just jump in the next one. Okay. The idea is if the Quran means that Jesus received a single distinct book called the Injil or the Gospel, it appears to misunderstand the nature of the Christian scriptures as no such singular book ever existed historically, either in Christianity or just in the world in general. There's no book that qualifies to be the Islamic Injil. This would suggest an error in the Quran's depiction of the gospel and that Islam is false since the Quran is false. If the Quran is correct and Jesus did receive an original singular gospel, then the current Christian gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, must not be the original revelation. However, this raises another issue. The Quran seems to endorse the gospel that Christians have, which would imply the four gospels are valid, contradicting the idea that they are not the true Injil. So, in a syllogism layout, we have P1. The Quran describes the Injil as a singular divine revelation given to Isa, Surah 3:3, Surah 5:46, implying it is a distinct message or book revealed directly to him. The historical Christianity has no record of such single book or revelation called the Injil given to Jesus. Instead, the Christian Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are four separate texts written by Jesus' followers decades or years after his life, somewhere between 30 and 70 AD. And the Quran instructs Christians to judge by the gospel they possess, and that the gospels held by Christians in the 7th century were authoritative. Therefore, if the Quran's Injil refers to a singular revelation distinct from the four gospels, then the four gospels cannot be the true Injil, and no historical evidence supports the existence of a separate Injil text given to Jesus. If the four gospels are not the Injil and the true Injil is lost or non-existent, then the Quran's command to judge by the Injil is incoherent, as it instructs Christians to follow an unavailable text. Some Muslims argue the four Gospels were corrupted, but the Quran does not explicitly claim this. In Surah 5:47 implies the Gospels held by the Christians are valid. If the Gospels are corrupted, then the Quran should clarify this to avoid misleading its audience. The Quran claims to be perfectly preserved, perfectly clear divine revelation. Any error or incoherence in its portrayal of the Injil undermines this claim. Therefore, you have a dilemma. If the Injil is a singular revelation distinct from the four Gospels, the Quran's description lacks historical evidence, and its command to judge by a lost or non-existent Injil is incoherent. Or, if the four Gospels are the Injil, the Quran's description of the Injil as a singular revelation given to Jesus conflicts with the historical reality of the Gospel's authorship and composition. Either way, the Quran contains an error or an incoherence, undermining its claim to divine accuracy and challenging the truth of Islam. That's the argument.
Agreed.
Critiques. Thoughts.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty positive. I don't know. I've heard so many weird arguments. Like I'll never forget watching a live on Hamza's Den where this young guy came on and it was pretty clear. It almost sounds like they don't actually know what the Gospels are. And I don't want to say that they're like uneducated on that, because I feel like at least the top Muslim apologists, like, you know, Muslim or Orthodox Muslim, Libiano, at least does research enough to quote parts of the Bible and has to know where stuff comes from. But when this guy came on and he was trying to talk about the gospel and the Torah, it almost felt like they had no idea what those actually are. And I don't know. It was a really weird conversation, because I'm pretty sure in a debate with David Wood, Hamza has absolutely mentioned the fourfold gospel, but sounded confused in this conversation. I don't know. It's weird to me trying to just get out of the fourfold and because I don't understand the argument of if Jesus didn't write the book himself because Muhammad didn't write the Quran himself.
I just don't get it either. Yeah.
So for the Muslim, arguing what the Injil is much easier than what you said, Andrew, about whenever Libiano quotes the Bible, because as soon as he does that, that is a much bigger problem, because then he has inadvertently confirmed what he quoted as part of the Injil or Torah. So that becomes even worse, because you could sit there with a Muslim and argue about what the Injil is all day and they could just throw random crap at you. But as soon as they admit that this, you know, they quote Deuteronomy 18 or they quote John 10 or something like that.
Yeah. It's just cooked. Like, they quoting things that they don't understand, which is not good. Whenever you point out that they don't understand it, they just ignore it because they don't care.
Whenever they quote that one guy about the Jews that worship Ezra, what was that guy's name? He's like a Jewish scholar. He didn't.
Boyan?
No,
Boyan?
it's
Two powers in heaven.
Is it Goldstein, something like that? No, about the Jews that worship Ezra. And because there was this one guy in Junior's debate with
oh yeah, he mentions
he mentions these like two or three different scholars who say that. And so then AP looks one of them up, and the guy doesn't actually say that. He says that he thinks Muhammad was confused.
Oh, dude. Oh, I don't even want to go there, but Junior misquotes so many things. He misquotes hadiths. He misquotes the Quran. He misquotes scholarship. It was the most embarrassing debate I've ever watched.
It was.
I thought the IP debate was bad. The AP debate was embarrassing because my favorite one is when he talks about the mustard seed of faith.
Yeah, I know.
because he says you will never taste hell. I went to on the debate. I put in the chat the actual hadith. It said that's not what it says. It says you will be removed from hell, meaning you will go. You'll be there. You're burning. Don't worry. You're gonna suffer. But then Allah's gonna be like, oh shoot, you got a little bit of faith. My bad, G. I gotta get you out of there. You're gonna suffer a little bit, just a little bit.
Also, Buddy thought that Jesus was born in Nazareth, not where he was born.
Not where he was born.
No, not the
passing Bible
smartest.
Trivia 101.
No. We are not in California. We're just streaming late.
Yeah.
Yeah. These folks in their late times.
They made.
Yeah, we all got late responsibilities.
David made a good point though. He said, "Look, IP's debate with Daniel established that Muslims would prefer a low IQ society, and Junior confirmed it."
Junior confirmed it. It's 2 p.m.
I truly think, Junior as an individual.
You be living in Japan?
I'm pretty sure Junior took that debate with IP pretty late, because at this point, I think a lot of people just don't want to debate IP anymore. And I understand that because he has bodied every recent debate that he's been a part of.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's the same thing every time. I don't understand why people take debates and do zero research. How do you come into a debate and just say, you know what? I'm going off vibes.
Dude,
just how I'm feeling.
IP is always like, every time I study everything that has to do with the subject, and every time the opposition like just got off the toilet, like,
yeah,
they were like, they have no idea.
Yeah. He has used the same debate introduction for 3 atheist debates in a row. You can go and watch him and then debate him, and you will know in advance everything he's going to mention. And they still come with nothing to explain how secular humanism is a better thing for society than Christianity.
They still just don't learn. It's crazy.
Also, calling your wife mid-debate to prove that you don't beat her is kind of crazy.
That was so funny.
Is that in the Junior debate?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because he was talking about how
it.
Muslim men aren't violent towards their wives because, IP was like, your prophet literally says that it's okay to
it literally
beat your wife within an inch of her
Oh,
life.
yeah.
And he said, no, that's not true. Let me phone my wife. Yes, hello, wife. Have I ever put my hands on you? No, honey, I've never. You never do that to me. Oh, awesome, honey. Say it for the camera one more time. And then he just hangs up.
Yeah, so because IP in his statement had facts. He quoted Hadith, he quoted the Quran, and he had percentages. And he showed that, like, by the percentage, Muslim women are abused physically and sexually significantly more than any other group. And that was his response, was to call his wife and say, I don't beat you, do I? He's like, see, guys, look at me. Pretty much his whole argument, he even says at one point, I, in this debate, have shown you I am a good person. Michael has not shown you that he is a good person. So now you know Islam is better for society.
He even said, I can't believe IP didn't give any of his opinions. He just brought like studies and stuff.
That's what they always say. Every debate, they're like, oh, you're just quoting a bunch of studies. It's a debate.
Yeah, what do you want me to do?
Brother. I mean, if he's just a troll, what if he's not a Muslim?
He's paid.
He can't be
He's
a
like
Muslim.
Tucker Carlson level paid.
That's insane, man. Absolutely crazy.
The Mossad thing.
Oh yeah, that was funny too.
So it's because IP has a tattoo in Hebrew on his arm, and it's I forget which verse it is, but it's the one where it's my people die from a lack of knowledge.
Right.
Was it Ezra?
Hosea.
Oh,
yeah.
4:6.
Yeah,
One of
it's
the
in
two.
Hosea.
It's literally the tagline of my YouTube channel.
and the guy and Junior was like, I hope that's not a Mossad tattoo. He's like, bro, it's a Bible verse. And then
Mossad tattoo.
And then
Yeah.
he was like, he's like, bro, nobody here can read Hebrew. Why would you even have that? Like, he got it for the debate.
You don't even know where Jesus was born.
You're right. I got this tattoo I have, guys. One day I'm gonna be in a debate at DebateCon, and
they're gonna...
I got this tattoo to prove that I believe in the Trinity, and I wanted to show it, and I got it like 4 years in advance to be prepared. So stupid.
I love him.
Yeah, it was not great.
But he's good. He's good. I accept Junior because he is like so sincerely wrong that it brings a smile to my face, because all the other guys are like liars. And I think, I mean, I know Junior is a liar too, but like, I think he is like kind of a more sincere liar than the other ones are.
I thought him as a person, I don't have anything really against him.
Personally,
I think in general, like, don't just agree to do a debate like a month in advance and then show up with like nothing. Yeah,
it looks like an idiot.
Hopefully he'll learn. He'll grow.
Also, his point is just wrong. So like you could be a great debater and still just be like, I mean, that's wrong, you know? So
oh, dude, one time when I was in high school, I'm sorry, we've gotten so off track from
I know we have.
The gospel
Well,
dilemma, but
he said I hate ads on live stream, so I turned off my ads. I didn't realize that they were still going for automatic. So
that's true.
There should only be one now whenever you click on or click off of it. But I have no idea if that's going to actually happen. So,
anyway. Well, before we get back on track, I'll say when I was in high school, I was in Lincoln. I did debate club, obviously, and I'm a nerd, and
obviously,
I did Lincoln Douglas debate because I didn't trust other people to actually help me, and I did really well round one on a competition week. And then the second round, I was on the thing. I had no possible understanding of how I was going to debate the negative. I sat there staring at it like, bro, what am I supposed to? I am a bad person if I take the negative on this. I was like, I'm about to bomb this. This is going to go so bad. It did. It went really bad. I almost had nothing to say. I was like, I don't.
That's one of the problems. I can't even tell you how weird it was whenever my middle school social studies teacher told me to get into a group with one other person and debate that the Palestinians were right in like what they were doing in Israel. And this was like a long time ago. So it was really uncomfortable for me because I was like, it's not. So the worst thing that I could point to is I was like, they're shooting kids with rubber. That was like the one thing
I hated. School debates suck because
so bad.
When you get handed something and they're like, all right, you have to debate on the behalf of this. Bro, am I a super villain? Like, what was like something about like oil mining, and like I was like, bro, it's about drilling oil in the oceans, and whether or not I was on the pro like ruining the ecosystem. I was like, what am I supposed to do right now?
You can bring up the fact that it helps Muslim countries. Anyways,
sorry.
All right, let's see if I could add it to the stage and make it look nice. I don't think it's going to.
I think when you presented the gospel dilemma in our part 2 of the Talmudic dilemma, I think that was a really good like explanation, and I'm pretty sure that's what you went over just now, but like that it feels like that's
it's entirely different.
Oh.
That wasn't a dilemma. That was just my argument that the Injil is the Gospels that we have today.
Oh, okay. Then
Yeah.
When you explain it on there, I mean, I think the Muslim position of having to pick one or the other, it's like, okay, well, they either have the Injil today, but it's been corrupted. When it got corrupted, who knows? Or they don't have the Injil today, it got lost. And okay, well, what do we have? What do we have today then? You know, like what? Because history proves you wrong. I was in a somebody commented on a video we put on our TikTok and was like, there's no evidence that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John wrote those books. I said, well, no, there is. It's like, at the least, I was like, even if I granted you Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which Luke, from internal critique in the Bible, would make no sense to be written by somebody other than Luke. Oh, I was reading that. But John, because of Polycarp and Irenaeus, we have a chain of narration telling us John wrote the Gospel of John.
And Isnad.
All right. I'll add that to the list.
The Arabic
Speaking
word
of which,
dilemma.
If anyone thinks of any dilemmas, absolutely.
Yeah, drop them in.
Drop them in, man.
The slavery is okay dilemma, in which the Muslim has to argue that slavery is okay.
The child marriage dilemma.
I think I have that.
The
low IQ dilemma.
The
I have
having
another
to,
argument.
having to argue that when Aisha makes a claim of her own age, that she was ignorant to her own age dilemma. She actually meant 16 and 19.
The gay Muhammad dilemma.
That's crazy. The Zut train dilemma.
All right, let's get to the next one. This is the dilemma. Is there a messenger? Yeah, there is. So I guess this is the pocket guide to counter Dawah, and this is eventually going to become a website.
The Dawah script
working on it.
website.
Yeah.
They're working on it.
If you see this number up here, how many pages it is?
Oh my gosh.
We've been cooking. Let me see what the actual. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this on this, but that's fine. Print. I'm gonna dox myself real quick. Actually, me not.
Good idea.
Make sure there's not going to be any information.
What? Yeah, printer Sony 6754 printer.
I didn't know if they're going to be like Wi-Fi or any of the other settings.
IP address.
Yeah. Just wanted to see how many pages it currently is. I think it's going to be around like 400 to 600 total. And then it's going to be a website. It's going to be more like a wiki layout. So let's see. It is currently 340 pages. 340 pages. We cover a lot of stuff, man. Those who want to like the table of contents is 6 pages. It's pretty good. But the dilemmas we're actually going to be going through is the Islamic Dilemma, Gospel Dilemma, Messiah Dilemma, Marian Dilemma, predestination versus free will, Allah's evil dilemma, Allah's justice, mercy, abrogation, and the eternal word, the scientific kind of. It's in my head, but it's not actually on the text. The apostasy dilemma, his prophethood, women's rights, jihad, hadith, sharia, judgment day, polygamy, Ezra, the book, the kitab, clarity, salvation, dominance of Christians, contradictions, Allah's fatherhood, which is a fun dilemma, the Shia dilemma, and the ear dilemma. And then you also have the Quran's completeness dilemma and the Talmudic dilemma. The ear dilemma is related to the Talmudic dilemma, but it's in a different format. Actually, I really like the format of the ear dilemma. Whenever we get to it.
I don't know if this is in any way could be considered a dilemma, but I think it kind of ties into the Talmudic dilemma a little bit. But the fact that the Quran has no understanding of sacrificial atonement, which is in complete contradiction to both the Torah and the gospel, if you if you say that you are in alignment with these previous texts, but you completely, even to the point where in the Genesis account, you've taken any form of atonement out of that story, like that, you're not in line with the previous scriptures. You are living it proves that Muhammad was living in a post-atonement society, or sorry, a post-sacrificial society, and had no comprehension that was ever a practice.
You do have him sacrificing camels to the Blackstone, but it's not propitiatory, I don't think. Oh yeah, the final Hajra, the final Hajj, he sacrificed a bunch of camels, and I think goats as well, and then bowed down to the Blackstone. He prostrated to the Blackstone.
The idolatry dilemma.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll throw that in.
I think that Muhammad could read, so I think I disagree with Sebastian Gibson here. Yeah. But yes, he was in fact a pagan.
Being published as a book, maybe. Bob was Speaker's Corner. I've talked to him about it. So whenever the last time I talked to him on the phone, he was talking about how he was working on this book, and I was like, yeah, I'm working on that document too. And he was like, oh, you're going to scoop me. I was like, well, I mean, we're already at like 350 pages, so I don't know how much of a scoop it's going to be, but he's currently working on that type of book. I don't know if we're going to have it set up in the same way. But like, if I go, the way it's supposed to be laid out is like, we have terrorism, and then like what Muslims say, then what Christians should say to the response of it. We have it for a lot of different arguments. So like, this one that's actually super relevant. Because a lot of these are just nonsense.
Since when do you trust Islamic tradition, Sebastian?
Jesus opposed taking interest. Oh, the peace be upon you is so stupid, man.
That's Jewish.
Yeah.
It's funny because the first time I read the Targum Shinai, I was like, "Oh, this has to be after Islam because it says peace be upon you everywhere." But I was like, "That's actually where it came from."
Yeah. I have a lot of stuff already, and there's a lot of apologetics, there's a lot of polemics. It's meant to be like a one-stop shop for defeating Islam. That's the purpose of it. It's what the website's going to end up being. Yeah. St. John of Damascus is just based, man. But he does mention the cow, the woman, and the table. So he mentions a couple surahs by name. So
it is pretty crazy.
Ridiculous books.
How quickly the early church was on that. I mean, they're like, yeah, this is
well,
not...
I mean, whenever you have the Muslims murdering, whole villages of Christians,
it's pretty easy.
I think we've actually, hold on. I'm going to stop myself before I say something we've literally already discussed on a prior stream. Give me like 1 second to fact check myself before I say something. I'm going to be like, oh, you guys have already answered this question.
Okay. I might go through the syllogism for the Messiah dilemma. This one's a good one because it's so easy to prove. Unless you're talking to a Jew, then they're going to really fight you on every single specific thing. But the Quran affirms that Jesus is the Messiah. It says it outright. And the Quran affirms the authority of the Torah and the prophets as divine revelation. The Torah and the prophets define the Messiah as a divine person in the Bible proper, not in the Islamic version. A divine Messiah is incompatible with Islam's denial of Jesus' deity. Therefore, the Quran affirms and denies the same essential attribute of the same figure, making it false. So you cannot have, this is an A and not B, an A and not A logical contradiction problem. Just outright. Quite easy. If he's the Messiah, he is God because the Messiah is God. Yeah, it says that he's not God, but he is the Messiah. Therefore, the Quran is incoherent.
I love when I love when God logic takes anyone who agrees that Jesus is the Messiah to Isaiah and shows them what the Messiah is going to be. It's like, well, how do you get around that? He's called Mighty God, Prince of Peace,
Everlasting Father.
Yeah.
Of the reign of his government will be eternal. He has like 6 divine titles in that Isaiah 9 passage. Yeah.
Real.
Yeah. So, for what the Messiah is, a term must be used in according to the meaning of that term in the linguistic and historical context from which it originates, unless the author explicitly redefines it. Question: does the Quran ever explicitly redefine the Messiah to be non-messianic or non-divine?
It never defines the Messiah at all.
No,
Okay.
it's just a title given.
So then you would assume that the context of the Messiah being used is matching with the historical and commonly agreed upon description of the Messiah. You wouldn't expect him to be using the word Messiah, which is a specific term, and not have any of the meaning that it came before it, especially because he's affirming Jesus and he's affirming the Jews. So he's affirming the Bible that they had and the description of Messiah that they had. So he doesn't redefine it. Therefore, should be the same term. Well, the term Messiah originates in Hebrew scriptures in Second Temple Judaism, not in Islam. So it's not an original thing that they can define however they want. It's being taken directly from the previous scriptures. In Hebrew scriptures, the Messiah is portrayed as a divine figure, which I will show in a second. And the Quran uses the term Messiah with no redefinition of its semantic context. Therefore, the Quran is committed to the Hebrew scriptural definition of Messiah. The Quran denies Jesus' deity, a core attribute of the Messiah, according to the Hebrew scriptures itself. Therefore, the Quran contradicts the meaning of the term it affirms, thus falsifying itself. So you have a little bit of an argument within the argument, but past that little bit of an argument, we can go way deeper and show like, oh yeah, the Messiah is God. You want to say something, Andrew?
No? Okay. Actually, any prophet could be the Messiah, right? I've heard that argument before. It's like, well, any of the prophets, they were all messiahs. All the prophets are messiahs. Anybody could be.
Right.
Allah was just handing out the title of Messiah to everybody.
So Sebastian's last comment is actually pretty funny to me, because not only does it call the previous prophets Muslim, it actually calls previous people who believed in God everywhere Muslims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they weren't.
Is the one halal dilemma and animal treatment dilemma? Both will not pass the covenant laws.
What?
You have to treat animals a certain way in the Torah.
Yes.
And you have to keep you can't sin in certain ways in the Torah. I think he's saying that there is a contradiction between what the originals said and what the Quran says, which is essentially part of the Islamic dilemma itself, is like it's affirming the previous yet denies it. So I think that would just be a subpoint or one of the supporting evidences of the Islamic dilemma, not necessarily a dilemma in and of itself. But yeah, it does. Absolutely.
Also, I looked it up. Muhammad's date of death was 632, and then Saint John of Damascus was alive roughly between 675 to 749. So just the fact that there was already like a comprehensive refutation of Islam within the first 100 years of its being a system.
Yep, it's true.
Excuse you, Allah is not a joke, you Islamophobe.
How dare you?
Again, it's December now. Islamophobia Awareness Month is over, unfortunately.
Yeah, now I have to make everyone aware of Islamophobes. The month doesn't do it for me anymore.
True. Which is a year-long process, man.
Yeah.
So, these passages should be presented concisely as attributes exclusive to God, assigned to the messianic figure. The debate is not about interpretation, only about factually stating what titles, functions the Hebrew Bible assigns to the Messiah. So this is not, oh, you're interpreting this incorrectly. This is just, what does the Bible say about the Messiah? What does the Bible say about God? Are those the same? If they're the same, then the Messiah is God. That's just a pretty simple deduction. So we get in Isaiah 7:14 that Emmanuel is the Messiah's name or title, and that is God with us. We get in Isaiah 9, as mentioned earlier, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, and the kingdom will be forever, eternal. So he's an eternal, mighty God, everlasting Father. Jeremiah 23:5-6, we have Messiah being called Yahweh or righteousness. Pretty interesting. Micah 5:2, Messiah's origins are from eternity. And we get this in the Talmud as well, that the name of the Messiah existed before creation. Anyway, in Psalm 2, we get him being called Son explicitly, and you also have kiss the Son or he will be angry and his anger will burn out and destroy you. So in order to be saved and not be destroyed, you have to embrace the Son of God. Psalm 45:6-7, we have the Messiah dressed as God, whose throne is eternal. And in Psalm 110, Messiah sits at Yahweh's right hand with divine authority, and his enemies are made footstools for his feet, and it's pretty based in general. You also have the Son of Man and all of the Son of Man stuff with Daniel 7. Not only does he receive worship, he also has all power, authority, and glory, and he sits in one of the thrones on Judgment Day, presumably to judge, or he's at least equal in status to God, who is judging. Zechariah 2, you have the sent one is Yahweh and dwells among his people. We have Yahweh coming to his people all over the place, including like Ezekiel. Isaiah 48:16 is one of my favorites, where you have the speaker being Yahweh, and it says Yahweh sent me along with the Holy Spirit. And it is like the most clear Trinitarian verse in the Old Testament. And if you read some translations, you don't see that at all because they put a like the end quotation marks before this point, and that is a sheer crime. Like the NIV has it rendered incorrectly. So you also have in Proverbs 34 that, you know, who has known God and who knows his son's name, like God has a son. So Messiah is God.
This is
True.
a side question on that topic. Would you agree that whenever you see the combination of like Adonai Yahweh, that is a statement of person? Like
Yeah.
personhood within the Godhead. Like if you know saying Lord
Oh,
God.
Yeah. There's lots of
Adonai
times where,
Yahweh.
yeah, that's
Or
Oh,
Adonai,
sorry. I thought you. Never mind.
or Adonai Yehovah.
I thought you said Kyrios. I was like, that's Greek than Hebrew. Nope.
Oh,
Adonai
my bad,
is
my
Hebrew.
bad.
Hebrew. It's not your bad.
there's a lot of stuff with that. There's times where, so some of God's attributes and names are singular. The vast majority of them are plural in the Hebrew itself. So Adonai is a plural name. Elohim is a plural name.
Right.
Yahweh is a singular third person, which is fun. And Yah, I believe, is singular masculine first person. Well, we have in Isaiah 12:2 that El, which is singular masculine first person, and Yah, singular masculine first person, both become Yeshua. So we have specifically one of the times where it's singular first person masculine in the Hebrew becoming Jesus, becoming salvation, becoming the Savior. And you get that language a lot where we have plural names of God, plural titles of God, yet singular actions of God. And I think you can actually tease apart, like you do it in the Greek significantly easier. Theos is almost always the Father. But in the Old Testament, you can still kind of tease it apart where like Elohim is more the Father or just the Trinity in general. But it's not nearly as clear as it is in the New Testament. With the New Testament Greek, all three persons have individual names and titles, and then Kyrios can apply to any of them.
It's funny. I love watching from the sideline with popcorn in my hand as Orthodox and Catholics bicker. And and I was watching a Jay Dyer video, and he was refuting Trent Horn, and as I was watching, I felt good because as I was watching the Trent Horn one, I essentially was like pre-assuming what he was going to say in response, and I was right. I was like, because I couldn't believe Trent Horn said some of the things he said, because he was arguing that they did not have a Trinitarian understand, that there was no, you can't pull the Trinity essentially from the Old Testament, that the Old Testament Jewish people didn't have a multi-personal view of God. And I was like, that's just flat out wrong. You absolutely can find a multi-personal view of God in the Old Testament. It's everywhere. So that is just not true. I mean,
you have Yahweh talking to Yahweh at least like 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, who's he talking
to? Such specific language. If there was never the idea of multi-personal singular God, there would never have been a two powers issue in the Second Temple period. That only comes about because there are significant passages that you can't work around, where it definitely seems like there is at least two, if you're not counting the Spirit of God as a distinct person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can get 3 pretty easily in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
I'm assuming a Jew saying that I would have a clear understanding into what Mashiach means. I do. Yes, most of the time that Mashiach appears in the Old Testament, it's not about Messiah proper. It's about the priest or the kings or the prophets. But there, as Sebastian pointed out, there is the Messiah that we were talking about, the son of David. And the son of David, if you look at Daniel 9, seems to be divine and also seems to be resurrected, to be killed and resurrected, that he ends the sacrificial system. He is part of sacrifices being not effective anymore. And you see that in the writings of Josephus, that from 30 AD to 70 AD, the sacrifices like of Yom Kippur specifically were not accepted by Yahweh anymore. Yeah.
Also, not anyone anointed by Yahweh carries his divine nature. That's not true.
You might need to rephrase that. But yeah, I would not say that. It depends what he means by that.
I mean, if you have a Christian understanding what the divine nature is, then absolutely
correct. Yeah, but from the Jewish perspective, if you're saying that the divine nature is the what's the exact term for it? It's like essentially having the Holy Spirit onto you. But they have a specific phrase for it, and it's whenever you're anointed, you have the Holy Spirit come onto you, which is why in Psalm 51, whenever David's like lamenting his sufferings, it's like, "Oh, do not take your Holy Spirit from me, Lord," because even in the Jewish understanding, even in the Old Testament, even in the Old Covenant, the Holy Spirit would still rest on the Lord's anointed, which is why David feared killing the Lord's anointed. He feared killing Saul because he had the Holy Spirit dwelling on him. So this kind of is fine from the Jewish perspective, even from the Old Testament perspective, but I would change the way he worded it for sure.
And also,
I get what he means.
Those who have been anointed do not always carry the Spirit with them. So that is a unique aspect of Christianity that the Lord decided to keep until this dispensation, that the Holy Spirit now permanent with his anointed, or with his people.
You, Sancho, always a joy to see the Torah Dilemma. Not entirely sure what. Oh, I guess you immediately said it. Something like all biblical prophets affirmed and upheld the Torah. Muhammad did away with several commandments, therefore Muhammad isn't a true prophet. Oh, hey, Stephen. Nice. Based.
Heard you got stoned.
What is the
context is wild?
Which work by Josephus does he mention that Yahweh was no longer accepting?
Oh,
think
with
it's Antiquity of
the
the Jews.
scarlet thread.
Yeah, I think it's Antiquity of the Jews.
Okay, because I've got on
it
the
the-
Jewish War, and it's lined up in my reading, but I didn't know which work he specifically mentions that, because that's super interesting.
Yeah. A lot of stuff was happening. So the doors were not shutting in the temple. They would just swing open. These are not small doors. These are doors that would take
Right.
multiple men to try to move. They would open on their own.
Wow.
You have the candles going out in the temple whenever they were trying to light it, which represents the Holy Spirit's presence in the building, which is why the Maccabean miracle, if it did happen, is supposed to be so impressive. Is the fire was supernaturally lit for weeks or months until the oil could come to keep it ablaze, because it's supposed to be going all the time. After Jesus's death and resurrection, that fire went out a lot.
Mhm.
We even have one of, I think it might have been the high priest, one of the priests in the temple. He like laments whenever the doors are opening and the candles are going out. He's saying, I know that judgment has been issued. I know that you're going to be destroyed. Why do you have to remind us so much? He's like lamenting the fact that the temple is telling them that it's going to end. You have the blood of the scapegoat not turning white. So what they would do is they would kill the scapegoat, dip the ribbon in the blood, and they would have two ribbons. They'd have one that would tied to the horn of the goat that went free into the wilderness. And they had one that they tied to the door of the temple. And they could tell that Yahweh accepted their sacrifice because the blood would turn white as snow, as you see from Isaiah. And that's also like a typology of Christ with the crimson worm, which is really based. But we see that in his writings that it wasn't accepted. It's remained red for 40 years. So for 40 years, all these events are happening. There was this one event where there's stars in the sky that make the shape of a sword and point at the temple. Like he recorded all sorts of wild stuff that was happening during that time period.
Did he record about the veil being torn, or
I don't remember. I don't think so.
remember either.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know like a lot of that. What you just said, it's
neat.
It also gives a lot more context to what Paul was writing about. Well, I say Paul, but whoever wrote Hebrews, whatever they, a lot of that in context of who he's writing to is very interesting.
What do you mean I'm mixing up Joseph with Talmud?
It's a very similar name, I know.
Very easily misunderstood.
What is DAL?
Defending
a line. Come on.
Oh,
Jason.
defending a line. I'm so sorry.
It's at the top of the screen.
It's actually
Well,
the
I know
Dallas,
that.
it's the Dallas
I know-
Cowboys.
I know that.
Dallas
Well, I was so confused because I was like, what?
Okay. To finish out the argument. So we have the two different horns of the dilemma, or the messianic dilemma. We have the Quran accepts the original definition of Messiah, then the Quran is affirming a divine Messiah while denying the Messiah's divinity. Internal contradiction, the Quran is false. The Quran rejects the original definition of Messiah, then the Quran is misusing a biblical term without comprehension of its meaning, demonstrates ignorance, not revelation. Quran is false. Either way, Quran false. So, I do have like Messiah. And it's like, oh, well, it means these things, but that's not the full definition of like son of David. And they don't even get into son of David. They don't know any of the distinction between the suffering servant, son of Joseph, or son of David, or any of that thing. Well, if you mean mixing up Joseph, do you mean the son of Joseph stuff? Which is ironic because Jesus is literally the son of Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Like his stepdad was named Joseph. That's just really funny to me that the Jews had this concept of son of Joseph being the suffering servant, and Jesus's stepdad is literally named Joseph. So funny to me. Anyway, so you have to explicitly define this, otherwise the Quran is just making a blunder. I don't really see any way out of it other than, well, the Bible's corrupted. Doesn't say that. Doesn't give a different definition. Doesn't give any definition, and it obviously relies on the context of the rabbinic and Christian sources. So if it's relying on that context, even in the Talmud, you can get a divine Messiah. I did that in my Isaiah 53 video. I might make a video just on the divine Messiah passages in the Talmud. But we get the name of the Messiah being eternal. We get Rabbi Akiva saying that the Messiah is sitting in the throne in Daniel 7. You get a lot of stuff where you be like, oh, well, now granted, majority of rabbis don't think he's divine. They also break it down into 3 different sons of, son of Joseph, son of David, son of Ephraim. But you can still make a divine Messiah claim from the Talmud. Anyway. Yeah. True and false.
I don't think we're getting through all 28 of these, Brody.
Keep going, Mike. You should write also what is Bible, what are the numbers of words that must be translated differently, a set of manuscripts that are used, etc. for Muslims who claim the same thing.
What?
You mean for this specific argument? Yeah. It just straight up does. Like the fact that they don't understand at least the Christian position, because they're claiming that Jesus is Messiah. So it's not even like you can say that it is the Jewish understanding of Messiah that they're pulling from. It's Jesus who is the Messiah. So it has to be from the Christian context of what Messiah means. And obviously in the Christian context of Messiah, it's God. So if you want to pull from the Old Testament, I think you can still make a very strong case that it is still God, but he's pulling from the Christians. He's pulling from Isa. That's God. I don't understand, man. For the corrupted side of the argument. Yeah. I do have in this document a long argument for the corruption and the preservation of the Bible and the Quran. So that we have like 15 different ways to show the Quran's been corrupted, including mostly like internal textual errors within the Quran, where obviously it was edited. Like we can see the edits of the Quran in Arabic. So I have a list of that. I need to make a better list of that and just make a video on that at some point. Whenever I can make videos on other topics.
Never
again. Yeah. It's absolutely true. There is no meaning to Messiah and it has no value other than just, why is Isa different? Why is he a unique prophet?
Dude, Isa's got like a ton of things that are different about him in the Quran.
Don't forget, guys, the Bible has been so corrupted because Isa never claims that God is Father. That's a biblical corruption.
Right.
He never in the actual original Injil, he never called God Father.
True.
Absolutely.
Maybe the most ignorant argument I've ever heard. I did get angry at that one. I thought that was so dumb.
Dude, we had.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. You guys can vent on it.
Nah, bro. We had Muslims saying that it was okay to call Allah Father before Muhammad. We had them moving crazy for a minute.
Oh yeah. It was just abrogated.
I hope they don't still believe that, but it's more fun when they don't think you can call God Father.
I've also seen a Muslim on is it Big John Steele? I think that's his name.
Mm-hmm.
He was debating, and the guy said, "Oh, your God assaulted Mary," and I was like, the Quran gives a very similar story.
It's not similar. The Quran story of Mary is,
but in the fact that a spirit sent by God.
No. What the Quran says is assault. What the Bible says is not assault.
I'm just saying, like, if you're making that claim about what is in the Bible, but not analyzing what the Quran says about Mary having Jesus or Isa. It's like what are you talking about?
Yes.
In the biblical
Especially-
account, Mary agreed to God. Mary was in agreement. There was in the Quran, the spirit of God, a spirit of God is plants a seed in Mary. That's the what is happening? I'm
In
so
the
scared right now.
This was
You can
prophesied.
do the rest of the stream of this. Yes.
This
No,
was
I need to make
prophesied
like
in world's
a pee
first.
cam so that I can entertain people with my camera while I'm peeing. And this is my current
This is-
idea.
That's not what I thought you meant. You could be like that one rabbi who was like,
No,
no.
I'm not gonna.
But sorry, I did not mean to say that that the Quran and the Bible have the same story.
Right. Every argument for Islam is circular reasoning. It is absolutely the case.
Yeah, but I love, every time I think that, hey, look at that. Muhammad got something right from the Bible. He inevitably ruins it. With like the whole story with the spirit overshadowing Mary. It's like, no, I just sent Jibril down there and you like blew up her skirt.
Well, it wasn't just Jibril. It was Jibril and Allah.
Right.
And it was not skirt. It was specifically vagina.
It's a good thing.
Because farj means opening, and it can mean opening in a lot of different things. But whenever you're talking about a woman's opening, it always means vagina. So he blew into her hole directly.
Wait, is that? Hold on. Is that the account from Surah 3?
I think so. It's either Surah 3 or 4. But it says we sent a spirit onto her and it blew into her. That literally means he like either pressed his lips up against it or like got really close and then blew into her.
Oh.
And the purpose was to sexually incite her, to get
Yes.
her aroused
Because
of
Mary,
the two semens theory.
Yeah, Mary had
Because she was
semens.
born with the semen of the backbone and the semen of her loins, because women have a different semen than men. So in order to get the semens to mix, Jibril / Allah had to blow into her to arouse her, to cause those semens to mix, to get her pregnant from the Quranic point of view.
I love this truth guy. Hey, truth, if I call Andrew Andy, will you get upset because I called Andrew something that's not his government name?
Andrew will be upset. But anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even see this guy. Oh.
Did you? Yeah, his last comment.
see?
It calls it the Old Testament, not the Torah.
That, please pull that comment up. Oh, let's clown him. Let's clown him. Boo. Bad argument. Oh, that's so silly.
That's crazy, bro. What are you talking about?
You claim is the Torah.
I'm sorry.
in the Bible.
You genuinely do not know anything about the Bible if you just made that claim.
Yeah,
Unless
I
you're a
don't know.
troll. If you're just a troll, then do your trolling. But
I
that's,
hope you're paid.
I hope you are a troll.
I hope
If
he's
you
a
act-
troll.
If
I
you
hope he's
thought
not that stupid.
if you thought you just gotcha'd us on that, please don't say that to
Oh,
people in
man.
public. Please do, like, you will get clowned on. That is the silliest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. They will think you're adopted or that your parents are cousins. Like, it is
Step-headed red
Not-
child.
not good. Early followers of Jesus, the ones that, all right, he must be a troll. All right.
All right.
Going into the Marian Dilemma, which I've done a video on, but the idea is obviously Mary and Mariam are not the same person. And there's just an argument with the same person in a way that I don't think Muslims can refute. So the Quran refers to Mary, the mother of Isa, as sister of Aaron in Surah 19, 27-28. Then she brought him to her people, carrying him. They said, "O Mary, you have certainly done a thing unprecedented. O sister of Aaron, your father was not a man of evil, nor was your mother unchaste." Also, unprecedented? You're telling me that no one committed adultery for thousands of years?
Never.
Unprecedented. Insane. Anyway, the Quran also identifies Mary as the daughter of Imran in Surah 66:12. And Mary, the daughter of Imran, who guarded her chastity, as the daughter of the wife of Imran in Surah 3:35-36, when the wife of Imran said, "My Lord, I have vowed to you what is in my womb," and she named her Mary. So this is the the promise of Mary being preserved. This is the stuff that it comes from, like the infancy gospel of James with her immaculate conception. So the Quran affirms the immaculate conception of Mary in a way, and also makes her the sister of Aaron, the daughter of Imran, and the daughter of the wife of Imran. So, pretty important there. In historical and biblical context, Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, is the daughter of Amram, living approximately 1400 years before Mary, the mother of Jesus. Mary, the mother of Jesus, is a distinct figure with no historical or textual connection to Aaron or Imran in Christianity or Jewish traditions, where her father is traditionally named Jehoiakim, Hillel, or Joseph. I tend to lean towards the Joseph, but that's its own debate. The Quran's references to Mary as the sister of Aaron, daughter of Imran, and daughter of the wife of Imran suggest either historical error, conflating Mary with Miriam, or an intentional use of these terms in a non-literal sense. If the Quran conflates Mary, the mother of Jesus, with Miriam, the daughter of Imran and sister of Aaron, it contains a historical error, and no credible historical evidence supports identifying Mary with Imran's family or Aaron, separated by approximately 1400 years. If the Quran uses sister of Aaron, daughter of Imran symbolically for like a tribal connection, because the Bible does this, hey, son of David, daughter of Aaron is used of Elizabeth. Its wording is ambiguous as it risks being misinterpreted as a literal familial relationship, especially given the lack of clarification in the text and the clear biblical association with these terms to Miriam. The Quran claims to be a perfectly clear and preserved divine revelation. These are the verses of the book in a clear Quran. Indeed, it is the best to send down the Quran. Indeed, it will be its guardian. Any historical error or ambiguity that leads to misinterpretation undermines the claims of the Quran about itself. The Islamic scholars argue that sister of Imran and daughter of Imran are metaphorical, possibly referring to Mary's descent from a priestly or righteous lineage. However, the Quran provides no explicit context for this interpretation, and the repeated association with Imran's family strengthens the likelihood of the confusion with Maryam. So, the Quran's portrayal of Mary as the sister of Aaron, daughter of Imran, and daughter of the wife of Imran creates a dilemma. If the Quran mistakenly conflates Mary, the mother of Jesus, with Miriam, the daughter of Imran and sister of Aaron, it contains a historical error, undermining its claim to divine accuracy. If these terms are metaphorical, the Quran's lack of clarity allows for misinterpretation, contradicting its claim to be perfectly clear divine text. Either way, the Quran's portrayal of Mary challenges its reliability or clarity, casting doubts on its claim to be perfectly preserved in clear revelation, thus undermining the truth of Islam. The only out you can have is Surah 3, where it says that there are clear parts and unclear parts of the book, and the clear parts are the foundation of the text. But why in the world would this be deliberately unclear to mislead people into hell? I can't think of any reason myself. This just seems to be an error. The truth guy's still going at it? Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is. He's still going.
Yeah,
but I think the Mary Miriam one is very fun.
Oh yeah. It's obviously false. Like,
it's so bad.
It's so dumb.
Reading
as
that
I mentioned,
for the first time, like in the Quran, reading that for the first time and thinking, oh, he confused Mary and Miriam. And now Moses is the uncle of Jesus.
Yep.
It's like, this is so bad.
I do think there's this interesting passage in, I believe it's Perk de Rabbi Eliezer, and I need to find it in a sooner place, because Perk de Rabbi Eliezer, a lot of its writing is post-Islam. A lot of it's a lot of the midrash coming out of it is predating Islam, but it's hard to tell what is and what isn't. In that, it talks about how there is a donkey that Noah rode, that Abraham rode, that Joseph rode, that David rode. So it's like all of the prophets are riding the same donkey. And as a Jewish person, you would understand, hey, that just means the donkey is like immortal or something, or it's symbolic, obviously. But if you're just reading that with a plain reading of the text and you're a dumb person who doesn't know any of the sources and you accept these other things, you might get the sense of, oh, all of these prophets are family members living at the same time period. And that's why they're all riding the same donkey. I think he just thinks that like all of Islamic history happened in like 100 years, like 100 BC or so.
I need you real quick. Please put up the last comment by Truth. Please put up the last comment by Truth.
No, you don't all agree. Jesus died for your sins. That wasn't after the vision of light. Is he saying we don't wait?
Until Paul. He's saying it wasn't until Paul that these people that they thought that Jesus died for your sins. Truth. When do you think that event happened? I need you to put in the comments, Truth. Please put in the comments. What year did Jesus die? What year do the Christians say Jesus died on the cross? And when do you think Paul had his road to Damascus moment? Please tell me. This is very important.
I can guarantee you he is going to put a number much longer than the actual number, because
100%.
I don't think anyone knows how short of a time span that actually is.
It's also he believes in the book that quotes that Jesus quoted the. Yeah, you also believe that that Jesus quoted the Shema, and I guess where we find that. So.
Yeah, he also made a comment. I don't want to give this guy that much time, but like he also quoted all the original believers, the followers of James. Those were the original. They were all Muslims.
It brings up Tawheed. Give us a date, bro.
You completely dodged that question. Give us the date of when Paul had his road to Damascus moment and when Jesus went up to heaven. Don't dodge it,
because you're not. Hint. It's single digits.
Bro just got cooked in his own debate. He's just yapping on here and got cooked.
Oh, not even a decade.
There it is. Tawheed versus Trinity.
All right. So,
anyways,
predestination.
That's enough.
Yeah, we're good.
I've only been through 3. It's been an hour.
I know.
Gotta cook. So, Allah decrees all things, every action, every choice, every outcome. Because, contrary to what a lot of Muslims think, the doctrine of Qadar is exhaustive divine determinism. Depending on what school you're in, if you're in the Ash'ari school, you're going to get a different version of it, which I will tackle in the debate itself. Oh man, that guy's so idiot. Okay. So we have humans are also held morally accountable for the actions Allah decreed for them. So we have both of these things being true according to Islam. But that's can't be. These are contradictory things. If you have every single thing decreed, then you don't actually have free will. Not in any real sense anyway. So the dilemma is pretty obvious to anyone who can think, but either humans are not truly free, making accountability unjust, or Allah is not exhaustive in his control, which contradicts the Quran. So, a loose syllogism would be moral accountability requires genuine freedom to choose otherwise. The Quran teaches that Allah predestines every human decision, movement, belief, disbelief, and action. If everything is predestined, humans cannot have genuine freedom. If humans do not have genuine freedom, moral accountability is unjust. Islam teaches that Allah holds humans morally accountable and will punish or reward them. Therefore, Islam affirms 2 mutually exclusive propositions: total predestination and moral responsible freedom, making the system internally contradictory and therefore false. So you cannot have free will and absolute divine control. They are contradictory, which is why I am an open theist. But, that's its own debate.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Islam asserts that Allah is absolutely sovereign and meticulously determines all events. If Allah determines all, he determines all human actions. If Allah determines all human actions, human cannot possess libertarian or meaningful free will. Therefore, Islam eliminates actual free will. And it also teaches that we are morally accountable. This is an obvious contradiction, so either Allah determines all actions, making free will an illusion and judgment unjust, or Allah does not determine all actions, meaning his control is limited and the Quran is wrong. Either way, it is false. The Ash'ari have this compatibilist, the theory of qasb, where they are trying to, like, oh, well, Allah decrees our actions, but we acquire them, which is very, like, fancy terminology to just say that God says what to do and then we do it, and somehow that makes us have free will. It's not. It's just we're still just puppets in that system. I don't understand how that could possibly be like, hey, if your will, your motives, your choices, your actions, and your outcome in this life are already determined and you cannot change those, do you have free will?
No.
No.
And
Absolutely not.
I don't have time to go through all of the notes I have to pick out every surah that that mentions that Allah is in complete and total control. But I will say it was not until chapter 18, verse 29, that there is a verse that says that actually people will to be believers or infidels. So, and there's at least like six to eight passages before then that are very much Allah determines everything, which he also determined how many Satan would take, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he predetermined who would fall away with Satan.
Mm-hmm.
But a good one is Satan an angel or is Satan a jinn?
He's a jinn.
He's a jinn.
It's not made clear until later in the Quran.
It's not.
Well,
Yeah.
Are you reading it chronologically, or are you reading it in the list?
I'm reading it in the order that it just
Yeah.
it comes to me. the way the book has been given to me.
Yeah.
Recite.
You choke you. Yeah, so as Stephen mentioned here, the word there is not unified. It is chad. Actually, God is one, and God is also unified, I would say. Because chad could be a unified plural. I would still say that the Shema teaches Trinity.
Oh,
made that argument before.
Was he trying to use the verse in Deuteronomy that says the Lord your God is
Shema.
one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the word, that word one literally is a pluralistic word. It's the same word when two become one flesh.
Right.
So when it's talking about
Yahweh
marriage,
is one.
Yeah. The same word being used when two individuals join in a marriage and become one flesh. That's the word they used to describe Yahweh as being one.
Mm-hmm.
The word Elohim, which is in the first 10 words of the Bible, is a word that implies three or more, but it's translated as just God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He thinks that the idea of Trinity is that it's tritheism and not one God. But I don't think he understands Trinity. So
No, they usually don't.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's not that complicated. Anyway. So a lot of the times they just appeal to mystery. So whenever anything happens in the Quran that's a contradiction that they can't get past, they just shrug their shoulder. But you can't just shrug away A and not A are both true. Just your system is false. If that is in your system is automatically false. That's like math 101. You can't have 2 + 2 = 7 and say it's still true. That's just not how it works. This one's one of my favorites. Allah is evil. I think it's also decently long. Yeah, it's kind of long. Anyway, it's good though. I like this one. So
this is essentially the same argument I use on hyper-Calvinism.
Yeah.
So I also enjoy this conversation.
You can definitely use it against Calvinists, yes. Although it is slightly different for Calvinist, but it more or less goes down the same line. So we have Islam teaches exhaustive divine determinism, and it also teaches selective mercy and guidance. Allah freely chooses who is guided and who is damned, though he could guide everyone. Although that's contradicted in the Quran, because Surah 111, if I'm remembering correctly, has Muhammad's uncle in denying Islam. So because Muhammad's uncle denied Islam in the eternal speech of Allah, that would make Allah subservient to his eternal speech that his uncle would sin and fall away and go to hell. So he couldn't actually choose whether or not his uncle is going to hell unless he chose before creation, whenever his speech was given. But also makes Allah like Allah doesn't have free will anymore. Allah has to do exactly what is determined. So Allah loses the free will, which is kind of funny. So Allah is both evil and he doesn't have free will to not be evil in the Islamic worldview, whenever you take it to its logical conclusions. But he did create all of hellfire, and he made many people go to hell, as it says in the Quran. So either Allah is the willing author of all evil and eternal torment, which makes him morally evil by any normal standard, or he is not exhaustive control, which contradicts the Quran and Qadar. Either way, Islam's conception of Allah collapses. You also have another dilemma which gets into the contradiction with his names, because his top names are the merciful, the bestower of mercy, and the loving, al-Wadud. So you have the Rahmans, and then you have the Wadud, and those contradict the idea that a loving, just, merciful God would do all of these things. But let's define evil, because they're going to be like, oh, well, he's not actually evil. So if we can define evil that they would actually agree with, you can get past that point and be like, okay, now that we agree on the definition of what evil is Allah evil according to the Quran, is the idea. Getting them to lay down a actual definition that they agree upon for evil is going to be pulling teeth, though. But I think it's fair to say that an omnipotent agent who knowingly and needlessly causes or decrees maximal suffering while having the power to prevent it or to bring about a better outcome is morally evil or unjust. I would say this does not apply to our God, the real God, because we actually have free will. God is not deterministically decided everything. We actually have the ability to choose him or to reject him, and we actually have the ability to choose whether or not we're going to hell if we accept Christ, and the Holy Spirit will witness to everyone. There will be actual justice on Judgment Day. Not so in Islam. We don't actually get true justice in Islam. So this doesn't apply to the biblical God. It does apply to the Islamic God. The Quran teaches that Allah creates human actions and controls humans' will. I don't know why willing is here. Allah created you and what you do. You do not will except what Allah wills, except that Allah wills. So we cannot make any decision except by Allah's explicit decree. The Quran teaches that Allah could guide everyone but chooses not to. Had we willed, we would have given every soul its guidance, but utterly fill hell with jinn and humans altogether. If Allah wanted, he could have saved all of humanity. And yet he's not.
But what does saved even mean in Islam?
That you go to Jannah. He could have let every human go to Jannah. He could have made every human obey him because he controls every human. Yet he's deliberately causing humans to sin. It's not Iblis causing humans to sin. It is Allah causing Iblis to cause humans to sin. But it's also him making the humans accept the temptation to sin. So he is orchestrating all of it. And he also orchestrates us to sin to go to hell. Because he could have saved us. And if he was actually loving, if he was actually merciful, he would have saved us. Yet he doesn't. Which also indicates that his titles of the most loving and the most merciful are also false. But he could have saved everyone according to his own word. And yet he doesn't.
This reminds me, I don't know why, but just on the topic of salvation, between the two, Junior argued that it is easier to be saved in Islam
Oh yeah,
in
I remember that.
Christianity. He was saying that in Christianity you've got to like believe in Jesus and like confess and repent and all this, but in Islam you just you just do the 5 pillars and do a bunch of stuff, and doing all that work is way simpler. But in actuality, it's if Allah has predetermined and decreed that you will be saved, and if he has not, it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to that fire.
Usually we get Muslims arguing the opposite, that it's too easy to be saved in Christianity.
But you have to work for it.
Yeah,
Right.
Junior did the high IQ take, which is actually just don't explain it, but flip it and say, no, actually, it's way easier to be saved in Islam. I'm not going to explain
As
how.
if that makes it true.
It's crazy. In Islam, all is predestined, but why then Muslims blame us for not believing in that garbage and attack us? Exactly. Why do Dawah?
I'm going to be so real, because this is a similar conversation that the free will versus the predetermined camps in Christianity have been having for a long time. There has been so much thought put to this conversation in those two camps. I just truly don't think that level of like theological understanding has been done in Islam. I just don't think they've cared enough to think that through, because it is absolutely a problem. I actually think it's great that I can use pretty much my exact same script that I've been using in the debates on determinism just for Islam, because they don't have anything for that. That has not been something they've focused on.
Yeah, because make no mistake, Calvinism is a pretty robust system. Like, I think it's wrong, but it's pretty well
It's had a
thought
long
out.
time to really flesh out these issues.
Right, and so they have
It's
very
a coherent system. It's just not biblical, in my opinion.
exactly. And I don't even know about coherent. I just think it's very well put. Like, you could have something
coherent.
that's,
I think if you accept all the premises, it does logically follow.
if you
just
accept
the premises itself is not true.
Right, but like again, like the inconsistencies with the Bible, and
right. But there's a big difference with that in Islam, where Islam, the premises themselves are contradictory.
right.
So at least in Calvinism, it doesn't contradict itself. In Islam, it does contradict itself.
Right.
Even for the premises. Now, obviously, Islam is false, and it's the system of divine determinism is false. But at least Calvinism doesn't immediately contradict itself.
Yeah.
It just is based on.
Yeah, I don't think the premises are contradictory.
Yeah.
I don't think that at all. I think actually Calvinists have gone a long way to be very consistent, and I think that's where things get worse. But
right.
Because I genuinely feel like if I had tackled this with a Muslim, they would look at me like I have 3 heads. I feel like they would look at me and be like,
the same way we talk about the Trinity.
Yeah, like what do you mean? What do you mean there's no free will in the Quran? There absolutely is free will in the Quran. It's like, no, I don't. Pretty sure there's not.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, the way Muslims talk about free will is absolutely bid'ah. And they don't know it's bid'ah, and they don't accept that it's bid'ah. Bid'ah is whenever you add new things to your religion. It's a sin. So it is a sin to be an innovator. That's the actual direct translation. And to do bid'ah at all is automatically a sin. And if you do it for a long period of time, they would just execute you. So you couldn't be an innovator, or you would be like dragged to the town square and beheaded. So that type of sin of, we know we actually have free will, because they have it's codified, it's canon that you do not have free will in Islam. Just straight up. That is what the Tafsir says.
We all read it.
I'm moving past. I'm not even going to respond.
Yeah, no,
we
won't do that.
Okay.
Actually, Muslims do. Never mind. I can't.
So the Quran teaches Allah could guide everyone, doesn't. The Quran also teaches that Allah created many humans for hell specifically. And this happens in 2 different places. I will surely fill hell, and then we have created for hell many of the jinn and mankind. So he is deliberately creating humans to cause them to suffer in hell forever. He's purposely creating them to suffer. The Quran teaches that Allah freely forgives or punishes whom he wills, not constrained by anything outside himself, because he doesn't actually have absolute justice. Absolute justice is not an actual concept in Islam because his mercy triumphs over his justice. So he is, even though one of his names is the Just, he is not actually just. He is merciful primarily, and he's not just because his condemnation isn't even just, because he created them and they don't have an option other than to sin. So he is creating people for the purpose of burning them forever. Not great.
It's
So
it's wild to me that like the caricature of the Calvinist issue that I like, because I will bring up like logical conclusions of Calvinism, like the idea that people are made for essentially for charcoal, and they'll deny that, and that but it's like, it's crazy that is a caricature where I know not like well-meaning Calvinists don't think that. That is explicitly what the Quran says. It's crazy to think that is what the Quran teaches, that Allah has intentionally made people for hell.
Yeah, it's crazy. So if an omnipotent being who creates beings he knows will be damned, could have guided them all, yet chooses not to, decrees their actions and still chooses to subjugate them to eternal conscious torment, that being is the ultimate author of evil and morally evil and unjust by any normal moral standard. Anyone with a brain and a heart could figure out that, yeah, that's pretty evil. Islam simultaneously claims Allah is the most merciful, most just, and most loving. Therefore, actually, autoimmune is not most just. I don't know why that's a typo there. Anyway, therefore, Islam's own depiction of Allah as the decreer of all things, creator for many for hell, who could save all but chooses not to, logically implies that Allah is evil and contradicts Islam's claim that he is perfectly merciful and just. So either Allah is evil and that Islamic attributes of Allah are false, or Allah is not as described in these verses, and the Quran is false because it is attributing falsehood to Allah. Either way, Islam crumbles. So you have 2 horns you can do. If you take that Allah's, like the Quran is teaching determinism, and you just accept it at face value, then Allah creates your actions. You cannot will except what Allah wills. He could have guided you, but chooses not to, and then he creates people for hell. So Allah is the first cause and direct determiner and creator of all sinful actions. He is the one that is doing the choice to create sin. So every single time he says that he hates the kafir, he is the one who's causing the kafir to do shirk, to do sin. Allah selectively withholds guidance when he could have guided, and Allah then eventually eternally torments the very beings he made, whose choices he decreed, whom he could have saved. That is just, it's insane to call him merciful, to call him loving, to call him good. If you avoid saying that he's evil, then you have to deny all those realities above. You can say, oh, well, humans choose freely. Allah just knows it. No, he created what you did. You do not misguides. Specifically, as a Muslim, if you've never read Surah 1693, go read it. Allah is the one who misguides those to hell. So it's not just Allah is, being apathetic to you. No, he is directly causing you. He's directly causing us. If Islam is true, we're all kafir. He is the one who's causing us to go to hell. That would still not be a God who's worthy of worship. He would still be evil and not worthy to be worshipped. So Allah does whatever is good by definition. I mean, if he just does what he wants, then morality is arbitrary and nothing has any meaning. So,
what was that? Oh, somebody in the comment section on the video that I posted today from the Talmudic Dilemma Part 2, somebody said that I was offensive by saying that Allah was the best of deceivers and that he encourages lying from his people. And so I said, hey man, I think you need to go read these passages. And I put in like, I know obviously some English translations use the word plotter or planner or schemer, which I think schemer is funny because that does not make it any better. But yeah, there are multiple passages where Allah claims to be the best deceiver. And like you just said about in Surah 16, where he is actively misleading those who he claims are infidels and kafirs. And then I put in Surah 5 where Allah says you can lie under oath. It's like, yeah, it's fine. Well, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
the
beginning of Surah 8 or Surah 9 says that Muhammad can lie to whoever he wants. Like, he can break his oaths, he can lie about his oaths. Like, just carte blanche, you know, just do whatever you want.
But he was predetermined to lie, and he couldn't stop it. You know, he had already predetermined he would lie. And he couldn't prevent himself from lying.
So here's one thing that I'm curious about. So the doctrine of Taqiyya is that you are allowed to say something that you do not believe if you feel if you feel as though you're threatened, or if you fear a worse outcome if you hadn't said that. Isn't that what it is?
So they have multiple different doctrines of lying. That is one of them. That is the one specifically for violence. But they have other ones for if you're lying in the cause of dawah, if you're lying in the cause of converting people to Islam, that's also acceptable.
Right, but what I'm saying is like, because like if you say I can lie if I fear a worse outcome if I told the truth, then like couldn't you just like lie all the time?
Yeah.
Because I could say, oh man, I feel like if I don't marry this girl, then my life is going to be worse. So I'm just going to tell her that I'm a Christian. Or like, I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I got. But
I like, I have to, I don't know how much longer I'm going to have to hop off, but I wanted to say one of Truth's comments says, we are good, thank you, with our belief that God will never become man and never became man. We are less susceptible to falling for the Antichrist. Hey,
little child.
So one, using the term Christ is a divine claim. Just pointing that out for you. But no, actually, you will be deceived by the Antichrist because you think Jesus is coming back, but not in the sense of the second coming of Jesus. You think Jesus is coming back in the he's going to be in his how do you say it? The person who's coming, who's going to be claiming to be Jesus, is not going to be Jesus. That's the Christian teaching. The person who's coming is going to claim himself to be essentially God. That's who the Antichrist is in Christianity. And it's very, very interesting that
hey, well, just curious, where do you get the second commandment from?
What do you think is the second commandment?
Yeah. Like, what do you think is the second commandment?
Oh my gosh, dude, these arguments are so bad. Oh my gosh.
That's not true.
So again, I think
go read Exodus.
It has to be a troll.
Yeah.
Go read Exodus. Go read Exodus and get to the part where it says that Moses and God spoke to each other face to face, and tell me about how people can't see God and live, and try and find the answer for it, because Christians have been talking about this for a very long time. I'm sorry, Truth, I think we're saying, right. You're just commenting to comment. I genuinely want you to know before I get off, I am sorry that you have been deceived. You have shown us in these comments you don't know anything about the Bible. Like, you have almost zero knowledge of the Bible. You think you do. You do not have any knowledge of the Bible. And I think it would be good for you to go get a Christian Bible, pick it up, and actually read it, because you don't know what's in there. You are making claims from a script that is full of misunderstandings and lies. My friend, just from some of the things you have put in our comment section, if you're not a troll, if you actually believe some of the things you're saying, you are very ignorant to what the Bible actually says. And even if you just want to keep debating Christians, you need to get better at this, because some of the things you're putting in here are like blatantly, like, you do not know what you're talking about.
Right.
So
they're not even arguments. They're just, it's random. What's a good comparison? It's the type of stuff that children would yell at each other on the playground
Schoolyard taunts.
to try to one up each other.
Yeah.
You just throw out random stuff that you hear other people say that you think it sounds good, but it has no substance to it. Like, oh no, you can't freeze me because I have the power to block you with my chains, or like my ice. Like, I have a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
I hear this every single day. You remind me a lot of how my 4-year-old tries to play fight with me. Where I try to like follow his rules. I'm like, okay, I'm Spider-Man. I'm gonna web you. And he's like, oh no, you can't web me. I'm Rhino. Rhino can't be webbed. I'm like, he's webbed all the time in the comics. What are you talking about? Like, no. And he just runs. And I'm like, no, I webbed you. You have to stay still. He's like, no. And he just keeps going. That is what you're reminding me of whenever you just say these like out there statements that have no substance to them. Which is why I feel like you really have to be a troll. If you're not a troll, I do worry about you.
Yeah. And your mental health. I still want to know what you think the second commandment is.
I still want to know when you think
Paul.
Yeah.
And when
you
Paul,
never answered that question. You never answered when Paul had his Damascus moment.
Well, you have to
Anyway.
remember, Andrew, Imam GPT is out this evening. So
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, have a good night.
Yes.
Enjoy however long you guys. It'd be crazy if you guys go for 5 hours again. I will be. You guys are insane. All right. Have a good night.
See ya.
See ya.
First of all, do we believe that the crucifixion was a necessity? That is a question that I feel like if I were to actually answer to you, it would go right over your head. So it's like the claim that like I don't know, whenever Muslims say, well, it's so much, it's like, you know, we actually have to work for our salvation. You guys don't have to work for your salvation. It's like, okay, well, God gets to decide how that works, you know? So it's like, do we believe that the cross was a necessity? We believe that it was prophesied. So the Lord knew that it was going to happen. So in a sense, again, I feel like if I were to actually answer this to you, you would not understand the answer anyways. So
okay. So here is the end of the syllogism, just continuing past the comments.
Yep. All right, focus.
For another one, so Allah's justice and mercy dilemma, instead of going through the whole one, because it's very similar to the one before. If Allah is perfectly just, he must give every person exactly what they deserve, no more, no less. If Allah is perfectly merciful, his mercy must not merely be partial or finite, but ultimately triumphs over judgment, or at least prevents disproportionate finite creatures. Because in the Islamic worldview, we are doing finite sins and being punished infinitely for it. Which gets back into some of the debates that Christians have, whether or not we actually sin in hell or not. The Quran teaches that many people will suffer eternal, irreversible punishment in hell, and any sin committed by a finite creature in finite time is by nature a finite offense. Eternal, never-ending punishment is disproportionate to finite offenses, at least by the Islamic perspective of the weighing of the books. Disproportionate punishment is unjust by any coherent moral standard. Therefore, if eternal punishment is real, Allah's justice is compromised, or his mercy is severely limited. The way you can get out of this in the Christian framework is either annihilationism, which Islam vehemently denies, or you can say that eternal conscious torment is valid only because one of two possibilities. Our sins are worthy of an infinite punishment, like it's actually way worse than what we think sin actually is, or we continue to sin after we're dead. There's no reason that we stop sinning, and hell is described as a place of extreme bitterness in the Bible. If you're extremely bitter against someone, and if sin is rebellion against God, and God wants you to repent and live in accordance with sin, you could say that we are actively sinning in hell, so it's infinite punishment for infinite sin, not finite sin. But that whole system itself is not possible under the Islamic worldview. So the possible explanations still contradict the Islamic perspective of Judgment Day, of hell, of justice, of mercy. It doesn't work. So you still run into this problem of his justice and his mercy are conflicting. The cross is the solution to it in the Christian perspective, where we have God's absolute justice and his absolute mercy meeting at the cross. The cross is able to accept the punishment for mankind and have God be merciful. So he's both just and the justifier, as Paul says in Romans. You don't get that in Islam. You can't get that in Islam. You need the cross to have both attributes. God doesn't have those attributes in Islam. Therefore, he becomes a logical impossibility of a being. So, yeah, Allah is incoherent. His attributes are incoherent. They contradict.
True. I had a very good friend of ours. Whenever he would share the gospel with Muslims, he actually got invited one time to a Ramadan feast thing, and he was like one of the speakers for Eid.
Oh, for like Eid or something.
It was pretty wild how he got there. But yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. He tells a really good story, and he said, "Look, you guys believe in Allah the just, right? So his justice is perfect, and he will exact judgment on those who deserve it, and he will enact righteous gifts upon people who deserve those. Well, you also believe in Allah the merciful." And Allah the merciful, you see, he's very kind, and even though you have done some things wrong, he still loves to forgive and to be a kind. And so we have these two attributes of Allah that have no reconciliation in Islam, because, like Andrew said, there is no atonement in Islam. So where exactly do you fall? Do you believe that Allah is going to be just? Hopefully not. I wouldn't want Allah to be just to me if I was a Muslim. So, I don't know.
Yep. You can't get past it.
There's no way to deal with sin in Islam.
Right. Other than an unjust system.
Right.
Yeah.
By a supposedly just creator.
Loving and just and merciful creator.
Right.
Yeah. So, just doesn't work, especially whenever you get into the Hadith. So, do you know about the Hadith with the people groups being saved?
Well,
have you read that Hadith yet? So, in the Hadith, and I think Bukhari, if it's not Bukhari, it's like Dawood or Ibn Majah. I think it's Bukhari. It's like 70 of the 71 groups of Jews are going to hell. So there's one group out of 71 groups that are going to Jannah of the Jews. Okay. And then Christians, it's 71 going to hell. And there's one group among the Christians who are going to Jannah. And then among the Muslims, it's 72 groups out of 73 groups that are going to hell. And one group of the Muslims are going to Jannah. So Muhammad affirmed that 98% of all humanity is going to hell.
Got a problem? And Lord knows that doesn't include 100% of Hindus, and
Nope. Yeah, it's probably closer to 1% of humanity will be saved in the Islamic worldview. And they make fun of the Jews, and the Jews are like, "Oh yeah, it's like practically universalism."
Yeah, I know. But they also, so wait, does does the 72 out of 73 thing include Muslims who will like go to the fire for a little while and then come out, or is that just like Muslims who will stay there?
Doesn't say.
No.
It just says goes to Jannah.
Good.
It's clear. Anyway,
Very.
that's so dumb. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. I can't respond to all the comments he makes.
No.
I have to internally believe that he is a bot or something.
Or he's being paid by Mossad to make Islam look like the most
True.
insane idiotic.
He's a Mossad agent.
Yeah. If you're if you're still here, man, we know. And we thank you for your service.
You can give me some of the shekels too, man. It's okay.
I might actually start rage baiting. I might actually start rage baiting it. We know you're a Mossad. Tell Netanyahu I said hey.
Okay. So, abrogation. Abrogation's dumb. Abrogation doesn't make any sense. And it's not the same thing as the New Testament versus the Old Testament. It just isn't. Muslims who make that claim don't understand the Old Testament versus the New Testament. God explicitly said, hey, I'm going to make a new covenant. The old covenant will end and the new covenant will begin, and it's going to be different. The abrogation of the Quran is, oh, that thing contradicted itself. What came later is true. Those are not the same.
Right.
They're not for the same reason, the same purpose, and it creates a dilemma. So, a divine, eternal, perfect revelation to all humanity should be eternally consistent and self-sufficient as guidance. If abrogation is true, the Quran contains commands that are later canceled or replaced, which requires extra Quranic knowledge to know what is actually happening. A text that internally cancels its own verses and needs outside tradition to know what is valid and is not self-sufficient nor timeless in its legal content. Also related to that is the Bible has like 41 authors over the span of 1400 years. It doesn't contradict itself. And the only changes in the covenant is the old covenant to the new covenant. It happens once and happened instantaneously. Versus the Quran is one dude over the span of 22 years, and it has hundreds, if not thousands, of abrogations. Why? Anyway. If abrogation is false, the Quran leaves the believer with commands that conflict in their practical implications. We have a couple examples, which undermines its claim of having no contradictions and being fully clear guidance. Therefore, whether abrogation is affirmed or denied, the Quran fails its own standard of being coherent, contradiction-free, timeless divine guidance. So,
extra 50 shekels for you in the mail, buddy.
Hey, yo! Yeah. Oh, I have this other form of the syllogism. A perfect, all-wise, eternal revelation for all humanity should not need its own verses replaced or canceled to remain correct or relevant.
It's true. Especially whenever, the Bible actually says that, hey, there will be a time whenever I will pour my spirit out on your sons. Will, it's not like the Bible's just like, oh, shoot, here's Jesus. What is he going to, dang it, he replaced the Sabbath. What the heck? It actually says that all that stuff's going to happen.
Better than two Jewish Israelis talking about things out of their sky.
What? Who's he talking about?
I hope he's talking about us.
Dude, I would you know how bad I want to be a Jew?
That would be awesome.
It would be so cool. I could just be like, hey, man, do you know I stole your money? Anyways.
I'm chosen by God to be his people.
Yeah. Promised this land 3,000 years ago. I love those memes. First of all, I do believe that they were promised that land. But second of all, those memes are really funny. Where it's like, those arms were promised me 3,000 years ago or something like that.
Malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So the Quran claims its verses are perfected, detailed, and free of contradiction. The Quran also teaches that some verses are abrogated or replaced by better or similar verses. If a verse can be replaced by a better one, then the earlier one was either not the best possible guidance for that matter, or only temporary valid, which undermines the claim of timeless perfection and clarity as a self-contained book. That should not be there. It should be there. Therefore, abrogation undermines the Quran's claims to be perfectly clear, fully sufficient, contradiction-free, and timeless. You also have the problem of there's clear verses and unclear verses in the Quran. Do the unclear verses need to be abrogated, or do they not need to be abrogated? If they're deliberately unclear, why exist in the first place, first off? But why also have this doctrine of abrogation to correct or change or fix the unclear verses that are meant to be there to confuse the people who are going to be led astray? But if Allah can directly choose who's going to be led astray no matter what, why include that in your eternal speech at all when you don't have to? You could just make all the kafir not read the eternal speech and condemn them anyway. It's not like you having them read the speech changes how you condemn them in all reality. So why even have that? It just seems to make it harder for Muslims to stay Muslim. Like Allah just introduced all these things that makes it harder for Muslims to actually hold on to their faith because it's so obviously false.
Yeah, I think once you start asking those kinds of questions and determinism, it all just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because the why do this kinds of questions for determinism don't usually end up working out. Because it's like, why do anything? That's always the question that it ends up at in determinism, is why do anything?
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like the Quran has no answer.
It doesn't. So it doesn't. Other than to pleasure yourself, I think is the only actual answer for why do anything. You do things in order to gain pleasure. Hedonism. It's a hedonistic religion that's divinely determined. So you have to do these things for pleasure and to avoid the punishment. But you only do it for the pleasure, not because Islam's paradise is hell. You would get bored out of your mind and suffer.
Yeah.
Like I love who was the author for that? There was an author, might have been Lewis or someone like him, who was like, he was describing afterlife of this man. And the man spends all of his days getting
I know what you're
drunk
talking about.
and having intercourse and like doing all those things. And after like 1,000 years of it, he goes to the person in charge of the room and he's like, hey, I thought heaven was going to be better than this. This is getting kind of boring. I'm not really enjoying my time here anymore. He said, oh, why do you think you're in heaven? This is hell.
Yeah. So essentially he says like something to the effect of what do people do in the other place or something like that. And he's like, oh, this is the other place, essentially, is I believe how the story goes. But yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And they don't even, because you don't actually have God's presence. You don't have the greatest good available to you.
Oh, well, I don't know that Allah being around would be the greatest good, but
I mean, you look at his shin.
Yeah, that would be nice. Muhammad is truth, is Muhammad in heaven? But regardless, I don't like just to me, I would rather not go to an island where I have 72 virgins and I never get soft. That doesn't sound like a very good time.
And they're all children too. That's the worst part.
It just doesn't sound like a very good time. I would not be very happy there.
Yeah. I don't think I would want to spend my life or my eternity having intercourse with girls who look like 9-year-olds.
And little boys.
That's actually what they're described. And little boys. You can choose the little boys. But yeah, like why is paradise getting drunk, eating fruit, and having intercourse with children?
Also, I feel really bad for like Muslim women.
Muslims. I have no idea why they're Muslim men.
Well, because it's like is sitting in the corner naked waiting for your husband better than like burning?
I guess,
maybe in some sense.
It would be boring, but at least you're not suffering.
Yeah.
I do want to respond to this dumb statement.
Yeah.
Do you not know the early tafsir? I'm assuming no, You know that Paul's called a Rasul, right?
Mm-hmm.
Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Like, he is called a Rasul. He is a messenger. He's an apostle, according to Allah, according to Muhammad. So, anyway. Apostasy. Also, let me know whenever you want to pop off.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just whatever you think.
I do want to, might skip a couple of them. I do want to get to the ear dilemma, because that's obviously on. This one's a very simple one. The Quran states that there's no compulsion in religion, yet you like death for apostasy. So threatening death for leaving a religion is a form of compulsion to remain in that religion. Therefore, Islam simultaneously affirms no compulsion in religion and enforces religious compulsion by death penalty for apostasy.
Ooh, which, by the way, prayer meeting before I came here, I would like you to hit. I would like to hit you with one of the coldest bars I have ever heard at a prayer meeting. Okay. So we were talking about Mark 7 in prayer meeting and how the Jews, the Lord, he doesn't call them this in this passage, but he's essentially saying that you guys make the word of God of none effect with your tradition, and how you guys are whitewashed tombs because they like the washings. They were habitually washing everything all the time. And so you're whitewashed tombs. And we talked about how in Islam the penalty for infidels is death, right? And so we talked about how, hey, you know, we have one religion that comes along and tells unbelievers that it's time for them to die. But then we have Christianity, it comes along and it tells unbelievers that you already are dead. I was like, ooh, all right. You know what I'm saying? Like Islam worships death, but you have to realize you're already dead before you can have life. Man, God's so cool, man. Like, he's so cool.
Yeah. We all go through resurrection in this life and in the next. Yeah.
You can either die twice and live once, or you can die once and live twice.
Yeah. Brother, okay. So,
yeah,
Muhammad's prophethood. just ignoring.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, the Quran states that Jews and Christians find Muhammad explicitly described in the Torah and Gospels that are with them. The Torah and Gospel text we have today is the same in all relevant essentials as the text Jews and Christians had in the 7th century. These scriptures contain no clear, explicit prophecy of an Arab prophet named Muhammad or Ahmed, or a prophet matching his profile in the straightforward sense, other than the prophecy of the false prophet. Therefore, the Quranic claim that Muhammad is plainly found in the Torah and Gospel with them is false, which undermines Muhammad's claim to prophethood. He claims to be in the Bible, not in the Bible, in any manuscript, for any reason, other than maybe the Talmud. You make a case from the Talmud, but the Talmud is not scripture.
I was about to say
so. It's also not the Torah. Yeah. Women's rights. This one's fun. So, the Quran and classical Sharia established structural legal inequality between men and women. Men get double females. Their women are worth half that as a man. Male authority or over women, and they can beat them. And then polygyny is also allowed only for men. Women cannot have multiple husbands. Yet Islam claims Allah is perfectly just in that Sharia revealed is the best and final system for all people in all times. A legal system that is permanently gives one side in legal weight than the other is by any normal standard unequal and unfair to that other sex. Therefore, either Islam's legal system is unfair to women, contradicting its claim to perfect justice, or its laws must be reinterpreted or relativized in a way that makes it clear, final guidance no longer clear or fixed, undermining its perfection. You also have the problem of the vast majority of hell is made up of women, which would make Allah unjust and unfair to women, because either the test is harder for women, or Allah made women in a way that make them harder to be pious. Either way, Allah is evil and unjust because of his treatment to women. because women are humans made in the image of God. Even though
True.
Islam denies that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not even made in the image of God according to Islam.
correct.
They don't even know what the image of God. Do they have any concept of the image of God in Islam at all?
You have Adam looking like Allah.
Because he's like 80 feet tall.
Well, no, he like physically looks the same.
Oh,
Iblis couldn't
okay.
tell them apart until he crawled through his butt.
Oh, that's right. They crawled through his bunghole. Yeah.
So, Jihad Dilemma, basically the same thing as like, hey, coercion, but also like kill, like kill those who disagree with you. The Hadith Dilemma is this gets into the Clarity Dilemma a little bit. It's just a take on the Clarity Dilemma. The Quran does not provide enough details to derive full Islamic law and practice because the Quran is an incomplete book. So Sharia depends heavily on Hadith. If Hadith are unreliable, which we know them to be, then the bulk of Islamic law and ritual has no solid, certain foundation, and Islam is left without a clear, complete, divinely preserved way of life. If Hadith are reliable, then the serious contradictions between the Hadith and Quran are problems, contradictions among Hadith themselves are problems, and the massive, long-standing disagreements among scholars and madhabis using the authentic Hadith show that Hadith do not function as a clear, unified, consistent revelation. Because of all the problems and contradictions within them, you can't actually use them as a method to derive truth. Sunnah is not actually reliable. Therefore, whether Hadith are treated as unreliable or reliable, Islam loses a coherent, trustworthy foundation for its law and practice. If you don't have that, then Islam system collapses because the foundation of Islam is based on the Sunnah. If the Sunnah is compromised, which it obviously is because it contradicts itself, then you don't have Islam. You can't be a faithful Muslim. If you can't be a faithful Muslim, you can't follow Allah. If you can't follow Allah, you go to hellfire. So ultimately, it all boils down to hellfire.
So what's interesting to me is like, so in Christianity, we kind of have this idea towards like the ancient churches where it's like, if something like, let's say the Marian dogmas, right? Since those weren't like codified until much later, do people before that, are they bound to those dogmas as well? Or is that something just for people moving forward? That sounds to me like the Hadith, where it's like, before that, like, did they have to pray 5 times, or was it? Because they say that Muhammad said that,
right?
But it's
also
not in
the
the
Quran only has
Quran.
3. Yeah, the Quran.
Yeah, the Quran only has 3. So it's
Right.
like, if you were a
Talmud.
Muslim who had not ever known Muhammad and who did not know the transmitter of the Hadith, so you did not know about said prayers or something of the like, were you bound?
I mean, you would have had to be, because obviously all the prophets were Muslim. They all bowed down. They all did prostration. They all did, peace be upon you. They all were Muslim, exactly the way Muhammad was a Muslim. So therefore, you had to. But I do love this comment of Quran is like Disney Star Wars, just remixing the old stuff while Star Wars is actually inspired.
Yes. Yes, I would just like to know which part of the Bible you would see as the Phantom Menace.
The law. It is somewhat boring and mostly about trade disputes, but the highs are very, very high because there's a lot of typology of Jesus, and the typology of Jesus there is amazing.
So
like Leviticus 2-6 is goated. Kind of like the duel of the fates.
So like, would that make through Chronicles like Attack on the Clones, and then the Prophets and the Psalms as Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Definitely
I could
It's
agree with
definitely the
that.
best. It's pretty goated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, okay, just one more one.
Well,
Just because this one is actually verifiably provable according to Islam. Did you know that the Quran talks about Christians as true believers? And the Tafsir agree to that. Ibn Kathir agrees. Yeah. And I believe it's Surah 85, 4 through 10. If you look at that passage, Truth, read it and then read all the Tafsir about that and look up the massacre of Naran and how there are Trinitarian, Nicene-affirming Oriental Orthodox Christians who are called true believers in the Quran, that Allah says they did nothing wrong other than accept Allah, trust Allah. There are actual Trinitarian, Nicene-affirming Christians in the 6th century that Allah in the 7th century call true believers. Surah 85. Anyway.
So is Deuteronomy and John the Torah and Injil truth? You can't just say that whatever agrees with the Quran is true and helpful.
The Quran is true. The circular reasoning, man. It's the Zut train. It's all the circles. You just gotta,
Because
keep going on the
again,
tracks.
let's say I take this tape and I write on it, this is the revelation of Allah. Allah is actually a woman. Okay, so let's say I write that out, and then I say this actually agrees with the Quran, and then I say the parts where the Quran refers to Allah as He has actually been corrupted, and then I say that the parts that just disagree with that statement are corrupted. Does that in any way, shape, or form mean that those things are corrupted?
Obviously, yes.
Obviously so. Truth, pay attention.
Pay attention to what? That's my favorite one. He's not watching. He's not listening. It's great.
No, who cares?
Yeah. He's here to fight.
Paul Stans cry about it. It's crazy.
He's a Rasul. Anyway, I need to make a video on just Paul being a Rasul in the Islamic sources. Muslims just don't know that.
We have so many videos we could make in so little time.
I know. I need to be able to do this full time so that I could just crank them out. Anyway,
Yeah.
Polygamy Dilemma. So there's this fun little contradiction in Surah 4, and it's entirely in Surah 4. So it's 4:3 and 4:129. They contradict. So the Quran permits a man to marry up to 4 wives on the condition that he can deal justly with them, so that he can have and this is coming from the Talmud, mind you. So in the Talmud, it says you can have up to 4 wives because you can have a week with each of them. So you have 1 week of having intercourse with each of your wives, as long as you can financially pay for them.
For a month,
you can do it.
Like 1 week every month. Wait, what do you mean by 4?
No. So you have 4 wives, and there's 4 weeks. So each of them get a week.
Right.
Every
okay.
month.
Yes.
So there's just
every month. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. So
I know you're not listening in. Yeah, but you can get knowledge from I don't understand this. You know how many times I watched YouTube videos for knowledge? Also, I think frankly, Moist Critical is a very knowledge bubble guy. Did you see his debate with Sneeko on
so funny
child marriage?
Sneeko with child marriage?
Yeah, against Moist Critical.
Yeah, I did.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
He was like,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
but 18 is like a good number. And he was like, no.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yes, Paul did tell Peter off, but he came back. It's Paul says this in several spots where he's like, for Satan that their soul might be saved.
Oh, I love
Yes.
just the laughing emoji in response to the I don't watch. What do you mean? I'm not listening.
I'm
People
not
respond to
listening.
me. Why would I listen to that?
I feel like
It's
that's
so
what most
funny.
Dawah people do.
It's just like the stereotypical. I'm sure he is like muted or something. He's not even listening to it. He's just like listening to some music or watching something in the background.
No, that's
Just
haram.
arguing with people. That is
Not
haram.
music.
I mean, they also. No, I'm not gonna get.
No, don't get into that. Yeah.
Stuff with non-humans. Anyway, so the Quran states that the men will never be able to be just between their wives, even if they strongly desire it. So at the same time, it says, hey, you can have 4 wives if you can maintain justice. And later on, it also says, hey, you're not actually able to maintain justice among your wives. So if justice between multiple wives is required for polygamy to be legitimate, but that justice is admitted to be impossible, then either the law permits a situation that is an error inherently unjust, or the condition is logically unsatisfiable and thus practically unenforceable. Therefore, either Islamic law knowingly allows structural unfairness in marriage, or it imposes an impossible condition that makes its own permission incoherent. Both options undermine its claims to be perfectly wise and just. The Quran at the same time says you cannot have multiple wives, yet it also says you can have multiple wives. What do you do with that?
Who knows?
Yeah. I don't understand, man. Ezra Dilemma says that Jews worship Ezra. Jews never worshipped Ezra. Dumb.
I love
The book
that.
dilemmas,
I bet Truth worships Ezra.
probably. He's probably a Mossad agent who worships
Yeah.
Ezra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ezra worships.
He's trying to make Islam look bad. Right. Yeah. So, the Quran speaks of Al-Kitab given to Jews and Christians together and implies that they read the same book because they are called people of the book together and that they recite the book together and that they are given the book together before Muhammad. So the Quran also calls itself the book sent down to Muhammad and the Arabs. Historically, there is no single physical book that Jews and Christians both accept as the book, as the Bible. Jews accept the Tanach. They reject the Gospels, also just the New Testament in general. And the Christians accept both the Tanakh and the New Testament. So our books are not the same. They're not identical. They're different in content. So either the Quran is treating Torah, Injil, and Quran as essentially the same book, as in it has like the same content, just different languages, given to different peoples, which is from the Talmud, or it is treating the Bible as a single book that both Jews and Christians read in common, which imply the Jews read the Gospels. Either case, the Quran's representation of the book does not match history, which undermines its claim to be a precise divine description of previous scripture. I think that's pretty straightforward. The books just don't work. Either the Quran is like mixing up what book means, which I guarantee you it is because the Talmud does that, or it says that the Jews like read the New Testament. That's really funny to me.
Yeah.
The clarity dilemma is one that we've basically gone over a bunch of times now, but like the Quran claims to be perfectly clear. It's not.
It's not.
Therefore, bad.
Second Peter's not disputed.
It was written decades after Peter's death. My guy's thinking of like 3rd John or like the Apocalypse of Peter or something like that. Even 3rd John was disputed, but it's been accepted. And we have reasons to think that it's actually true because of Isaiah. With the Isaiah connections, with every chapter of Isaiah corresponds to a radar. If you want to join the Talmudic Dilemma project, I would love to have you. Also, yes, I will be happy to get you this document. If you want to contribute to this document, I would also love you to contribute to the document. We are like 85% of the way through the document. It's quite long. It's hundreds of pages, 340 right now. And it will eventually become a website. Yes. Thank you so much for the super chat. And send me an email. I tried to send you an email. I don't think you got it. If you send me an email, I'll respond to it. If you're on Discord, I'll invite you to the Discord. I want to get together. I want to talk about stuff. Love your work. Your base.
Radar is based.
Yes. We need to dismantle Islam from the Jewish sources together.
Yes.
Anyway. Yes. Again, salvation's very similar to the other one, just a slightly different form of it. Dominance of Christians is a fun one. So, the Quran says Allah made and will make those who follow Jesus uppermost over disbelievers until the day of resurrection. I will defending a lion works for Messiah. Absolutely. Yes. I need the shekels. So what's your email? Did you say that it's 300 pages? It is absolutely 300 pages. It's 340. For a comparison of what's contained in it, I can go through that. So we go through the standard Islamic narrative, the Trinity arguments, the Tawhid arguments, God's characteristics, the defenses that they give for God's nature, God's actions, whether God can die, whether he can be begotten, all that stuff. If Jesus is God, if Jesus was a Muslim, if the Bible's been corrupted, if the Injil, like what is the Injil, what was originally there, all the stuff with Paul, like Paul corrupted Christianity, all the stuff Truth's been talking about all night. And writing quality, unmatched writing. And then my email's in my YouTube bio, but it's also on my website at contacts. And I'll go and throw that in the chat. I don't want to accidentally mistype my email because I can never actually remember the exact one because I made 2 versions of it. And I'll throw that in chat real quick. We also have A Miracle
Just
for All
dox
Times, all of the
himself.
perfect preservations. Yeah, absolutely, just doxing myself. I mean, it's open. It's not like people don't know where the
Just
email is.
kidding.
Yeah, I just need to dox myself one of these days.
Yep.
And we also have like Muslims versus Christians, morality, prophethood, salvation, like a lot of stuff is in this document. Then all the dilemmas we're currently going through, then all the arguments against Muhammad's character, which I love. Whenever people read this list for the first time, they find one of these really funny. And I love it too. So it's like, it's a PDF file, violent, warmonger, thief, gay, rapist, slaver, murderer, demon-possessed, foolish, hypocrite, sexist, sexiest, not a typo, racist, ginger, cruel, false prophet. And I love how every single person points out the ginger being like the odd man out from this list. Yeah, Muhammad is a ginger. And then going through some polemics against Islam quite a bit longer.
Got an Irish Muhammad.
Yeah. I need to change some of these things, man. Thanks.
That
me reach out.
sounds ominous.
You will hear from me. You will hear from my returners. Yeah. Yeah. Where were we? Oh, too far.
No idea. What does kaboom mean?
Kaboom. Big booms. Yeah. We're almost done.
Boom.
2.5 hours. So Quran says Allah made and we'll make us all uppermost. In ordinary language and history, those who follow Jesus are Christian, who explicitly reject Muhammad and the Quranic version of Jesus. Islam also claims that Islam is the final superior religion destined to prevail over all others, that he may cause it to prevail. Therefore, either the Quran's promise of dominance to the followers of Jesus refers to Christians, which contradicts Islam, or refers to Muslims, which contradicts both the natural meaning of those who follow Jesus and the historical fact that Muslims have never been continuously dominant over disbelievers until now. And in both cases, the Quran's claims about who is uppermost are incoherent. Even in like the height of the Ottoman Empire, they were still not the strongest empire to ever. At no point in time has the Ummah ever truly been uppermost. So what do you do with that? And the Ummah right now is weak. They're currently conquering the West, not because they're strong, but because the West have suicidal empathy. We're allowing them to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Contradiction dilemma. Basically, there's a bunch of contradictions, and you can phrase it as a dilemma itself. The fatherhood dilemma gets into the farge, like then blowing into the Miriam. If Allah, Allah argues that having a son is impossible for him because he has no consort. Yet Allah says he can produce a son for Mary without any human consort, and explicitly says this miraculous conception is easy for him. If a lack of consort is truly a logical barrier to having a son, then Allah's own claim that such a thing is easy in his act of causing Mary to conceive by his spirit contradicts that reasoning. Anyway, if such a conception is easy for Allah, then the argument, how can he have a son when he has no consort, is a bad argument, since his power clearly does not depend on having a consort. Therefore, either Allah's argument fails, or his claims of ease and power are not coherent. In both cases, the Quran's reasoning about Allah's son and Mary's conception is internally inconsistent. You also have Allah is the father of Isa, ultimately speaking. So God is a father.
Or, because if you don't say that, you have to say that Mary is his father.
Uh-huh.
Because she had the two semens. So, technically, there was... If you believe that... Okay, I guess it depends on what you mean by virgin. But, depending on your definition of virgin, Jesus was not virgin born in Islam.
Right. Because if the blowing was a form of intimacy and it broke the hymen,
well, yeah, and not only that, but like the two semens theory kind of insinuates that she had sex with herself.
Correct. But is masturbation making you not a virgin?
Well, no, I never said that, but it's not like what she did was not that.
I guess that's fair. Wait. Could it be?
I don't know if I want to talk about the same word. I just don't know. Like, I can honestly say that, like, it was, I guess it's like a weird case. But, like, we don't believe that Jesus had an earthly father. That's why we don't believe that he has a sin nature.
Correct.
So, like, he's different. But you think that he's made just like everybody else with...
Just by one person.
Just by one
like
person.
Asexual reproduction.
Right. So it's asexual. So I guess technically that's virgin.
Yeah, that would be virgin because you're not actually having intercourse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Still a weird thing to think about.
So it would be the equivalent of choking the chicken, but without reproduction.
Right.
Where asexual, you actually reproduce in that process.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't think most asexuals need to be enticed into it. They just divide because they're mostly unicellular creatures.
Right.
Anyway. The Shia dilemma. So Muhammad calls the first generation of Muslims all perfect, and like the generations that comes after him, like the best that could possibly happen. Like there's this famous thing in Bukhari where it's like an ounce of my companions are worth a mountain of gold of the ones who will come later. So it's the earliest, I think it's the Sabahata or something like that, for the earliest generation of Muslims.
Sahaba.
They are the ones who are the cream of the cream, the top of the top, the best of the best. They all murder each other.
Yep.
They go to war against each other. So the Quran and Muhammad and the Hadith describe these people as the best. And we get in the Quran that true believers are united in brotherhood and peace and are not going to be hostile towards each other. The believers are but brothers, so make settlement between your brothers. Hold fast to the rope of Allah all together and do not be divided. In the Quran, this is the direct claim. This is how you are supposed to act to one another. Yet, historically, the best generation split into rival camps, fought bloody civil wars, all 4 rightly guided caliphates were assassinated, and a permanent Shia-Sunni split rooted in that first century years. So a community characterized by civil war, assassination, enduring sectarian division does not match the Quranic description of united, peaceful believers. Therefore, either Muhammad was wrong about that generation being the best of believers, or the Quranic description of true believers as united and at peace is not actually born out of Islam's real history. In both cases, Islam's claims about its own community and guidance are falsified. Or you can just say that there are no Muslims anymore. That would break the thing of them being uppermost, of them being the best, of them taking over, of them having supremacy over the other people groups. So either there are no Muslims and Allah is wrong, or there are Muslims, but they're sectarian and going against the Quran.
Right.
Also, mate, why are you awake? Go to sleep, or did you just wake up? This is a guy in the UK. Why are you awake, my guy? It's like 6 a.m. for you. Thank you, though. Thank you for the dollar. Like $1.2 from your pound. Thank you so much, brother.
I think that's exactly
I know him personally.
$1.
Yeah, just about. Go to sleep, my guy. If you're, yeah. Anyway. So, what do you do with this? It's like, how can you believe Islam? I don't understand. And the last one I had here, I do have one more I might mention quickly. So here is one version of the Talmudic dilemma that I came up with before the Talmudic dilemma. So this is my proto-Talmudic dilemma argument. If these Christians or Gnostic legends are indeed divine revelations from Allah, as the Quran's inclusion of them might imply, then their affirmation of Christ's deity in the infancy Gospels portrayal, for example, contradicts the Quran's rejection of Jesus as God. This would mean Allah revealed conflicting messages undermining the consistency of Islamic theology. So Islam affirms the infancy Gospel of James and the infancy Gospel of Thomas and the Arab infancy Gospel. In at least two of those Gospels, I know for a fact, it calls Jesus God. Outright. So the Quran is affirming a document that calls Jesus God and uses it to teach that he spoke from the cradle, that his mom gave birth under a palm tree, that she gave birth instantaneously, and he made clay birds that came to life. All of those stories are coming from sources that say Jesus is God. Why would Allah be confirming those things as his scripture? But these stories, if these stories are not divine, but merely tales Muhammad heard among caravan routes and incorporated into the Quran, the Quran is not a pure revelation from Allah, but is a product of human compilation. This challenges Muhammad's prophethood and the Quran's claims to be an unaltered word of God, direct divine dictation. So either Allah endorsed contradictory revelations that affirm Christ's deity, compromising the Quran's denial of the Trinity and divinity of Jesus, or Muhammad was not receiving divine revelation, but recycling human stories, undermining the Quran's divine origin. So this was the version of the argument I was giving before I realized what the percentage of the Quran is that's rabbinic. And then I repurposed it to be rabbinic focused rather than just the Quran affirms a book that calls Jesus God, yet it denies Jesus is God.
Right.
Yeah. I go through a bunch of different versions of it you can go through.
So
and hundreds of logical arguments. So many arguments against Islam. Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Islam has never been more false than right now.
Yes.
Have you seen, do you know the meme with Moist Critical, and he's like, of all the things that didn't happen, that didn't happen the most. It's like, whenever I think of the Quran, I think of that meme every time. It's like, of all the things that didn't happen, that didn't happen the most.
Right. Although he throws in some expletives of
yes,
it,
true.
Yeah. Out of all the things that have never for sure happened, that is the least never happened thing that's ever happened.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Isn't in the Quran that they say your God is our God?
Is our God.
Kindness, like the opposite of that, of our God is not your God, nor is your God our God, and it's just the really dumb long surah. It's not long, it's one long sentence that is a surah. But Yeah, they definitely claim that our God is their God. But it's not true.
Yeah. So, yeah. I also love that your Quran literally says that you guys follow the religion of Hanifa. In fact, it goes so far out of its way to say that it follows that it literally says we don't follow the Jews, we don't follow the Christians, we follow Abraham and Hanifa, implying that Abraham was a believer in Hanifa. Hanifa, first of all, wasn't a thing, and number two, I mean, for a time Abraham was an idol worshiper, but Hanifa was idol worship. So,
yeah. I mean, if you go read Rodwell's translation of the Quran, it's great. It's in chronological order. It includes a lot of the Talmud references. It's very well remade. His introduction to it, not the first one, because the first one is a Mohammed Glazer. The one after that, the actual Rodwell's introduction, he lays out such a great case of why the Hanafis was this, like, how should I describe them? They were kind of like a cult of the Jews that he expanded upon until he made it into Islam, because Islam was not the original religion of Muhammad. It was Hanafiism.
yeah, Hanifism.
He became, like, Allah was not the original name of God. Muslim was not the original name of the followers of God. All that stuff was developed over time. He was originally a Hanafi, and his original God was Ar-Rahman, because he was getting all from the Jews. Then he incorporated more of the pagan stuff into it, and that's where you get Hubal and
Allah.
Samad. Yeah, and Allah and all that stuff. Yeah. Also, thank you, Tommy. Go sub to Tommy. He's based. He's making some pretty cool videos coming out soon, going through a non-Pentecostal's experience with Pentecostalism, and doing some of the sermons from it. It's been pretty good. Go check out his latest video. Get it over 100 views. Anyway, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's so. I'll also check out the video I did with Chase and Andrew on Islamic Dilemma or Talmudic Dilemma.
Both videos.
2 videos. Both videos. If you have not checked them out, I gave an abridged version of the full argument of the Talmudic Dilemma, although we did not go through the Muslim rebuttals at the end of it. So, not technically the full thing, but it's like 80% of it, 85% of it.
Yeah, we have plenty of Muslims in the comments for that. So,
yeah, fun to talk to. Some Jews too. Anyway,
yeah. Have you made
the last?
Sorry, go ahead. Nope. You.
Go ahead.
No.
You.
No.
Mine's off topic. Go ahead.
Mine is, well, I guess mine's probably more on topic. What about the Yahweh dilemma?
The Yahweh dilemma, like the name is not
the name.
It's Allah. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can make that into a dilemma.
I was just thinking, because also Muslims all the time like to claim, oh, Allah just means God. No, it doesn't.
Stop giving me money. Go for a walk or something. Go eat some beans on toast.
Death blow. I couldn't imagine.
It's basically, if you like chili, you like it.
Nope. I don't like chili.
It's literally like, like Bush's baked beans, like that exact flavor of the original Bush's baked beans on bread. That's all it is.
Yeah, I just don't like.
It's not terrible. So let's see the Yahweh dilemma.
Hi, Smile. He's with AP or she. I don't know. I forget. You're cool.
Smile to Jahannam. Hey, brother. Good to see you. Oh, I never actually responded to your comment. So this is going to be just a comment for him, no one else. For the Tetragrammaton and the cross plaque, you can make a solid case that the melech there is missing the vav. You can also make somewhat of a case for the vav to be there. I think the only textual evidence we have is the Jews were offended at it. Oh, sister. Oh, sorry. Sister smiles. You can make a case that it's literally just Yeshua HaNazari Melech HaYehudim. But you can also make a case because the actual phrase in the Greek doesn't translate well to the Hebrew. And same with the Latin. So like the INRI or whatever it is in the Latin, the Rex there, because it's Yesuus Nazari Rex, yes, Yehendis or something like that for the Latin. That phrase, you could add a vav, you could remit the vav, and it mostly remains the same. It still remains the King of the Jews. So you could, instead of having a comma, because commas didn't exist in Greek, you could have and the King of the Jews. If you have and, it becomes Yahweh. If you don't have the and, it becomes Yamim or Yameh. So up to you. I personally enjoy having it there, but it would be way harder. I wouldn't stake any of our religion on it. I wouldn't stake any of the, like, it's not a proof of Christianity. It's just a really cool thought where we have for sure 3 of the 4, and grammatically you can have the 4th in there. It just doesn't, if it's Aramaic, it doesn't fit as well. If it's Hebrew, you can make it fit. It's just, why would it be Hebrew is its own debate. But anyway. No, that's not the one. I didn't want to put truth up there. Are there any other cases where the king title was with the vav? In the Old Testament, yeah. But it just depends on the context of the grammar. So that would just be part of the debate there. The arguments in chat watch time is loving this. Go to sleep.
Truth has been a thorn in our side. Well, not really.
Yeah.
Actually, he's been more like the opposite. He's been like the, because he's really just been demonstrating how absolutely retarded this religion is.
Well, it's just cousin marriage. It's rough.
Did you see? You did. You saw what I sent in the Discord. It was like, Allah definitely cannot have a son because Allah does not have a first cousin.
Yeah, no comment on that. Not on what Tommy said and what you said.
Anyways, buddy, I think I'm gonna have to skedaddle.
Okay. One last dilemma, then we'll probably call it for the stream.
Okay.
I want to get your thoughts on this. I want to get your thoughts on this because I know you're a young whippersnapper, but you have the energy of a 7-year-old. So,
hang on. 1 second. I gotta change my audio.
Okay. Just looking through. Man, these people are interesting.
There we go. All right, continue.
Nowhere on earth our God is Allah. Absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
So, riddle me this. Think about this. The Quran was revealed slowly over 22 years. Content retains directly to Muhammad's life. It's so one-to-one to Muhammad's life. We can actually get a loose picture of all of the events of his life because of how biographical the material of the Quran is. So Allah's eternal speech has all this biographical material, yet it's supposed to be perfect and complete. And in Surah 5:3, we get that stupid sentence that says that the Quran is complete. Like, today I've perfected your religion and it's complete to you. Well, it's my contention that if Muhammad had lived a little bit longer, there would be more surahs. So there's no proper ending to the Quran. There's no proper beginning to the Quran. And the ending that we do have the Quran is nonsense. It has absolutely not an ending. It's talking about like kosher laws. Do you think it's possible that if Muhammad had not been poisoned and died early, would he have revealed more surahs? Or do you think it would have been still exactly 114? Oh.
We know for a fact originally it wasn't even 114 because Umar said, let not a person say, I have learned all of the Quran. Let him say, I have learned all of what remains of the Quran. So
correct.
We know for a fact that what we have now is not all of the Quran. But that having been said, I feel like Muhammad still would have kept making stuff up
Me too. Absolutely.
because
Like his wife talked back to him or something. He's like, "You cannot talk back to the Prophet of Allah." That would
because
him.
here's the
It
I
kind of
also
already is,
love
but-
how Umar said, I found the last 2 verses with this guy in the middle of nowhere, and he said, had they been 3 verses, I would have made them a separate surah. So that's pretty funny. But I think that stuff would have happened after, like, because essentially Muhammad died on his way back to Mecca, didn't he?
No, he was in Mecca because he's
He was-
supposed to doing the final Hajj.
Yeah. So he was in Mecca. Because then, so in the Bible, right, we don't have this idea of if the prophet had lived longer, there would have been more revelation, right? Because we know that,
Right.
like, Moses lived for 40 years in Egypt and 40 years in the backside of the desert with no revelation.
Mhm.
So he, like, whenever he died, obviously somebody, finished it off for him. But then we have other people throughout the scriptures who were given certain revelation and then died. And it was not about them. Jeremiah was given a bunch of revelation and said, nobody's going to leave you. Nobody's going to love you. Nobody's going to believe you. You're welcome. But with Muhammad, it's like, yeah, I think because it's funny. I think we would have a lot more, I don't know. We would probably have a lot more really, really stringent law-based chop people's heads off laws in the Quran. But I don't know. I didn't come to faith because feeling God's love deception is to do. Yes. No, it's true. And like
Based.
the scriptures do say, right, it is the love of God or the goodness of God that leadeth men to repentance. So, of course. But whenever we're on stream with Adam Seeker, oftentimes he says, look, you have to remove the darkness of Islam before you can get the light of Christ in. So
Yeah.
Camel and pork are both forbidden.
Yeah. No, but the camel meat. I like Miguel. He's fun.
Camel is not forbidden in Islam, is it? It's halal.
No, it's halal. And not only is it halal, it's the animal he sacrificed and ate for the final Hajj.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not.
And why you sacrifice to the Blackstone, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because they don't have atonement.
It's not kosher.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah. The only reason why he didn't want to eat pig is because he didn't want to eat humans. Specifically Jews.
Yeah, because he thought the Jews were
or pigs and apes. Yeah.
I forgot about
And there's the hadith about the pig. Oh man, that's funny. One of my favorite hadith is the one on one of the companions of Muhammad saw a group of monkeys stoning a monkey to death because it committed adultery.
Yeah, and then he started doing it.
And then he started stoning the monkey to death too. That's so dumb. I love it so much.
The implication of sentient monkeys or of conscious monkeys is crazy, but
well, they're probably just Jews. They're Jews that are still practicing the command of stoning for adultery. That's what it is. It's Jews turned into apes that are still practicing the law.
Where's the freaking yarmulke wearing apes at? I want to know.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Okay. Any last thoughts? Wrap up. Any plugs?
My last thought is that you guys should sub to at Sons of Thunder Apologia. And like every video, every last one, and comment. Actually, what's funny is that apparently comments push videos more than likes do. And we get so many comments from people who disagree with us that I think it's helped us a lot. So yeah.
The content of the algorithm. Actually, I'll tell you this off. I'll tell you off stream. just so the Muslims don't have ammunition because they don't understand the algorithm. But if I explain it to them, so
Manipulate.
we'll leave it there. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you always. Stay away from Islam.
Mm.
The Monday on the Bible. You choose to tune in.